And welcome into the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I am your host, John Nabors, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we have a loaded, fun show for you today here on this Monday. We made the trek back from Arlington, somehow survived, somehow still upright, and hopefully free of any disease. But we find a way to make it happen there in Arlington, which was a great time. It was great to catch up with you and so many of you Razorback fans that have been out there and supporting us, and to be able to talk to you in person. So we'll do a little recapping of the trip itself, which had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But if you're a Razorback baseball fan, you kind of experienced both a little bit. So we're going to look into that entire performance and that entire showing in Arlington, as well as some of the takeaways from it moving forward, some things we like, some things we're concerned about. We'll have some Razorback basketball conversation, too, because they did play a game and they did win, and that is their second in a row. So we will discuss that and also get into court storming. Friend or foe, you be the judge. But we'll talk about that, as that was a huge point of emphasis. But we have to start, of course, with Razorback baseball. Now, Razorback baseball won 2 of 3 down in Arlington. And if you're a baseball fan, you may have loved some of those games. You may have hated some of those games. But what was crazy about those games is that each and every one of them ended up being just a one-run game. Arkansas was able to take care of business in what I would think one of the best type of college baseball performances you'll ever see, and just game itself. We'll talk about the specific in a second, but Arkansas and Oregon State, a little revenge from 2018, even though literally no player from that team was on this team. No, not even Will McIntyre. I know it seems like he's been there forever, but it was nice for Arkansas to get that win. And then you had the game that went into 14 innings against Oklahoma State. Arkansas fell a little short on a walk-off suicide bunt, squeeze, bunt, whatever. I don't know, baseball terms. He scored on the end of the game, and they won. And then Arkansas was really well in hand against Michigan, up 4-0, but Michigan laid a little bit interesting there in the last part of the game. Arkansas still gets the victory, though, by a final score of 4-3. So overall, it was a pretty solid performance. I think everybody would have taken 2-1 heading into this particular event. You may not have viewed it in the same way or in the way that maybe you wanted it to, but Arkansas got the victory, and that's what's most important. But if you were able to see Dave Van Horn after Sunday's game against Michigan, it didn't seem like they won based on his mood. He was not very happy. He was not very thrilled with the performance, not only from his team that day, but honestly, the performance of his team in general all weekend. Sure, they won 2-1. They went 2-1, and those are high-quality teams that they faced. However, when you have to rely so heavily on the pitching and the hitting not getting anything going for you offensively, it becomes a pretty big concern. We know that they're good teams, and it's early in the season, and they can start to figure it out. But when you consistently see batters going up to the plate, striking out, popping out, hitting into ground rule doubles, not ground rule doubles, but ground double plays, and having all those issues that just plague a team that shouldn't be having those types of things happen so often, so consistently, it's pretty scary. I mean, think about it. Arkansas broke every single strikeout record known to man from the pitching perspective, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't feel it, because if it wasn't for that, it's kind of scary to think of what Arkansas would have been. They may have gone 0-3. In fact, they would have gone 0-3 if it wasn't for the great pitching performance. So how much of a concern is it? Well, it depends on how you look at it. The pitching was phenomenal. The offense, not so much. So how can they fix it? Can they address it? That's just going to be the thing that gets talked about forever. But I don't think that it would be the right way of starting it out if it wasn't for the fact that you have Hagen Smith in what was, without question, one of, if not the greatest, Razorback baseball pitching performances of all time. 17 strikeouts for Hagen Smith. 17. And it was one of those times where you're going to remember where you were and almost laughing every single time another strikeout happened, because you just had to shake your head. You're like, this is insane. This is stupid. The low amount of pitches that he threw, then that amount of strikeouts against a high-quality team in Oregon State, mind you, who was number 7 in the country. To be able to put that type of performance together was nothing short of miraculous, considering also how people felt about him after his James Madison showing. I guess the only thing I can take away from it is that James Madison is indeed better a team than Oregon State. I mean, that's the only type of conclusion you can draw. But an absolute stellar performance by Hagen Smith, and one that was worthy of him being pitcher of the week in the SEC, because I don't know how you can be able to top that type of performance. And they needed every bit of those strikeouts, because Arkansas was able to win with 1 run. But we have a lot to talk about and discuss into that, so we'll go ahead and welcome in a couple of the guys that were down there, of course, with us with United States Sports, and it is Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson. Guys, good to see you guys upright, good to see you guys in the office and with big smiles on your face, because that was a marathon of a trip down in Arlington, but a fun and worthy one nonetheless. It
was a fun one, and it was definitely a worthy one. We had a great time. It was definitely good to see folks out there, folks see us, and it was nice. It was like baseball is such a niche sport, but when you see all the fans there, and it feels like an intimate experience when you're like all there supporting a baseball team. There's, not your 80,000 crowd football stadium or anything like that. And basketball has that feel a little bit too whenever there's 18,000 people all in the arena, and it feels very like it's like a tight-knit group. And with Hagen Smith, the performance, the way to sum it up for me, the best way is like, it's rare in sports when we all start talking about the same thing when we're at a game. Because normally when you're at a sporting event that has 15, 16,000 people, conversations going on, the game, you're talking about the game, but it's rare that we're all sitting here being like, hey, is this something going on? And in baseball, you have that with like no-hitters and perfect games and whatever. If a guy has 3 home runs, you're kind of, oh, when is he coming up in the order? With Hagen, it took about 12 pitches before we were like, hey, this looks like something's happening here. And obviously, like, they had a bunt single, I think, to lead off the game, right? So we didn't have any time to do like no-hitter or like anything. Yeah, but it took us it didn't take long before we were like, this is something special's going on here. And he's 6 through 6. You're like, oh, that's cool. 9 through 9, 9 strikeouts through 9 outs. It's like it just kept going and kept building. You just keep getting you realize after about the 4th inning, like, we're all watching the same thing and we're all noticing it. And it was just really fun to be a part of. And man, he made it fun by showing a bit of his personality, showing some emotion. And he doesn't like to do that a ton, but I thought it was cool. And he knew those dudes couldn't touch him, and he had no problem letting them know that they could not touch him. I thought it was really good, and thank God he did, because this offense sucks, man.
Dude. Yeah, I know we're going to talk about offense, but the pitching, I mean, it has to be discussed, and has to be talked about, it has to be, like, praised, because those types of performances you're just never going to see again.
I mean, it is kind of crazy that, Hagen Smith was so good that, Tiger and Molina both shoved, and I walked away from it being like, after what we saw from Hagen.
Big whoop.
Mason Molina threw 5 no-hit innings with 10 strikeouts, and nobody's talking about it.
Nobody's impressed.
That's exactly right.
Nobody's impressed by it.
It's absurd, man. But no, he was unreal. And yeah, I absolutely love it, because baseball's it's a traditional sport, and I think they're becoming a little bit better, in my opinion, about allowing a little bit more personality to be shown. And I love that from Hagen, man. Like, you doing what you're doing, like, step off and talk your talk, dude. I enjoyed that a lot. So that was crazy. I kept having to look over at you, like, after every strikeout. I'm like, okay, he has struck out 10 batters for all 10 outs, right? Like, that happened. Yeah. Okay, so he struck out 12 guys for the 12 outs he got, right? Before I'd hit send on the tweet, because I was like, this is so crazy. Even though I know what's happening, I feel weird hitting send because this can't be real life. But yeah, that was nuts. Man.
Well, and it was funny to me because I had something similar happening with me, and of course we were there, and some of my friends were there who are big baseball guys, and I am not. But it was almost like I had to keep kind of looking over to them. I'm like, so this is ridiculous, right? Like this is not something that's, oh, okay, yeah, well, do something else to impress me. It's like, by anybody's standards, it was impressive. And also what maybe something that doesn't get talked about enough, or maybe, again, it's just so many things to talk about in this whole deal, is it wasn't like he wasn't even burning them in the way of, striking them out looking because he had some crazy pitch they didn't understand. He was just gunning it in, and they were swinging, and they couldn't catch it. And that, to me, is also, every strikeout you'll take, but that's something that may be even more impressive, is that he was just out there gunning it in and going right down the pipes, and they still had no answer for it.
That slider, man. Those righties, lefties, switch, it didn't matter. They could not pick up that slider at all. And I thought that, he threw 78 pitches. I believe it was 59 strikes. So, like a high. And this is a dude that threw about 60% strikes last year. So he's like one of the lower ones in terms of like good pitchers. That's a lot higher than 60%. And I was thinking about it. About a third of his pitches were swung on and missed. Like, I haven't gone back and like charted it, but it seemed like every batter swung and missed at least once or twice. Mm-hmm. You just really don't see that many swings and misses. Like you mentioned, like there's some guys who you have a team that likes to take the first pitch, likes to do whatever, so you can kind of fill up the zone in that way. It was like almost every strikeout was a swinging strikeout, and it was like that's the sliders down in the zone, fastballs up in the zone. Like, it was really just a 2-pitch formula pretty much the entire night. I think he maybe mixed in like one cutter, one changeup here and there, but it was like, of those 78 pitches, I bet I bet 75 of them were fastball or slider. It was just he was dominant.
Which guy was it? The leadoff? I think it was the leadoff guy for Oregon State. He's like like an All-American like type caliber player.
And he raked the rest of the weekend after that too. But yeah, that was the first batter of the game. That's what it was. 3-pitch strikeout to start the game. He goes swing and miss fastball, goes down looking at the slider, and it was like right away you could tell he wasn't messing around.
Bunt.
Yeah, no, bunt. Had to bunt to break up the no-hitter two batters in, man. Just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, it was in that game was a little bit. Like Arkansas had six hits in that game, ended up getting the 5 runs. At least that game they were opportunistic and kind of made the most of their chances. I think that was the most disappointing part about the next 2 games to me is like they had plenty of chances in those games and just kind of weren't able to get the big hit, weren't able to string together success at all. But luckily, when you have a guy like Hagen Smith, guys like Brady Tiger, guys like Mason Molina, luckily Arkansas has 3 of them, it gives you a little bit of leeway. And so we can talk about the offense's struggles and kind of what to expect from that group. Because, I mean, they stunk it up those last 2 games especially. Anybody who's trying to act like that wasn't a big concerning thing, like that's stupid. Like you didn't watch what we watched because I mean there were a lot of weak grounders. Yes. It wasn't even one of those situations where it's like, oh, they're crushing the ball, but just right at guys. It's like there really weren't a ton of times where they were putting pressure. But I think that that performance from Hagen Smith kind of reminds you of just how easy it's going to be for this team to be good. Yeah. Because you look at those arms and you're like, it's not like the offense has to be that great, and gives you a chance to kind of settle into the weekend. I mean, it's good. Friday nights in Fayetteville are going to be fun this year.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to our own Gage Wood, where Curtis and Scotty and me we're down there before in the practice, and he called it when they were asking, how do you think Hagen's going to handle dealing with? He said basically prayers for Oregon State is essentially what he was talking about, and man, he could not have been more right. That was just. I don't know if we'll ever see that again in any capacity from any individual, because he did tie the strikeout record. Really would have liked to seen him go in just one more batter. Yeah, just to give him the record, because he did deserve that. But that was about as cool of a performance. And I know you're going to take the win, but it just makes you think, geez, if the offense was just decent, like you would have swept this whole thing. If it was just, like not even close in sweeping it. Just decent,
or you could look at it the other way and say if Jake Faraday doesn't come out of freaking nowhere to get his first career save, Arkansas would be. I mean, if they had lost that opening game and wasted that Hagen outing, God, this would be a rough one. I mean, they tried to blow that Michigan game too. It's like this show would have a lot different vibe if we were having to be like Hagen was great. He had 70 strikeouts, but they went 1 and 2 and they had like 12 hits the whole weekend. It was tough, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was fun to watch that though. It really was, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not in panic mode about the offense or anything, and I think that the pitching staff is a big reason why you don't have to worry too much about it.
Yeah, I think so too. What was it? At one point, I think yesterday in that Michigan game, we looked up and they had 3 runs on 1 hit.
Yeah, which is like
wow, dumb. That's actually
Michigan was so bad, dude. That was they were the big loser of the weekend. Like. We could talk about the other teams and what they did well and not well, but Michigan was clearly the worst team, and it wasn't even close, dude. I think they're not even come close to making the NCAA tournament.
Well, I remember when we were walking over for that Oklahoma State game from the hotel to Globe Life, and we ran into those 2 Michigan fans walking back, just looking. They were just in a bad place, and Ellis was like, "Hey, how'd it go over there?" And the dude was just like, "Not good."
Well, that game before, the Arkansas game was at 7, the other one was at 3, and that game was over at like 5 o'clock. Yep. It was like we by the time we were walking over that game had been long over with.
Yeah, well, it was also like with the Michigan fans. I'm sure like, hey, they won the national championship of college football, so they're probably leaning into that a lot.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
I will say though that it was a cool event because you at least faced 2 teams that you're only really like Oklahoma State and Arkansas. For some reason, I feel like they've played like 18 times in the past 4 years, or whether it's by just circumstance or the postseason or whatever. But playing Michigan and Oregon State, as we know, doesn't happen very often. And Michigan's Michigan, but Oregon State, a high quality team, and I know it felt a little good to get that victory. Although there was an exact replica of that pop up foul ball that Oregon State caught. Dude. And I looked down, and there was a contingent of Oregon State fans, actually a good amount of Oregon State fans, and they were kind of sitting there. There was one guy especially that was causing all types of issues towards Razorback fans, and I looked down after that play, and it's almost every one of them just looked over at Razorback fans. We're like, You know we know.
Yeah.
We know that you know. And we're going to laugh at you again for it because we can catch it. Y'all can't.
Hey, well, at least
But,
one
man.
OSU fan base showed up. It would have been nice to see
Yeah,
in Oklahoma.
geez.
Did y'all see any Oklahoma State fans? Like, I'm not even like really joking. Like, obviously,
for
when the
real,
game
yeah.
happened, you saw some orange. But I'm talking about walking around Texas Live, walking around the hotel, walking around wherever. I would see orange, and I didn't see any Oklahoma State. We saw a DJ Ungulele jersey
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
we
we did.
saw a freaking Oklahoma State T-shirt. I didn't see any Oklahoma State fans, and at the game Saturday, it was like 95% Razorbacks. It was crazy.
Yeah, there was an awful lot of beaver around Texas Live for there not be a bunch of Cowboys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Almost
crazy. I mean, because
uncomfortable.
we Oregon State, they have a good fan base and they have a good baseball program that they support. But it's like, I would have had no issue if they didn't bring a ton of fans. They brought a pretty solid amount in Oklahoma State. It's like, what the hell? So it was just right there, like just a quick trip down.
I was really disappointed with that too because I thought at minimum they would be. I knew Razorback fans were going to overtake the whole dadgum thing, but just to see next to none of Oklahoma State fans
Right.
was surprising.
A
But
few dozen, maybe.
yeah, and even like I think it really hit me when I stayed a little bit after Arkansas and Michigan game to see Oregon State, Oklahoma State. Which, by the way, you guys, how do you have the same initials in the same colors? Like exactly like
Right.
Oklahoma State and Oregon State. That's just
On
blew my
Thursday's
mind.
Bombastic, I mixed it up at least 27 times. I do want to
who
quickly
won that
touch on
game?
this on which game? No, Oregon State went 3-0 or 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on this comment from Matt Reese. He said, sad Hagen didn't even get the W. Don't be, Matt. Nobody should ever be sad, happy, or anything about win-loss record in
Nope.
pitching in baseball.
No.
Although
It
Gage,
just is
Gage
not
Wood should be
something-
happy
It doesn't
that he
matter.
sniped it, but yeah.
Yeah, Gage Wood should be happy, I guess. But I remember asking Hagen after a fall scrimmage because he was like in line for the loss, and I was like, "Hey, you happy that you didn't get the loss?" And he's like, "No, I don't care at all." And I was like, "Fair enough." And that was in
Okay.
preseason, but it's like, I promise you, Hagen ain't worried about not getting the dub.
No. And it kind of reminds me of if a way that you could, maybe not exactly, but it's almost like imagine being someone like Caleb Battle, which we'll talk about him and his performance over the weekend. But imagine being somebody like that where you score 42 points in a game, but because your plus and minus was like minus, then it's like, well, no, you actually lost the game. You're counted with a loss. Like you were the best player and you really willed the team to victory, but because of some
Devo
other
got the
stat
dub.
or other circumstance, you're going to get the loss. It's dumb and it makes no sense. So yeah, that doesn't need to be worried about. But I will say for Hagen, and speaking of Hagen Smith, let's just go ahead and stick with that because we'll talk about the offense in a little bit. I put the question out on Twitter of among all-time performances from Razorback athletes and single-game performances, and this is across all sports because this is the type of iconic, legendary type of game where you'll never probably see it ever again. Where does this particular one rank as far as how impressive it is, how rare it is? Because I mean, I'll just throw ones off the top of my head. Like you think about Darren McFadden, 321 yards against South Carolina. You think about, if it's Rodney Clark's 53 points or whatever. Like
Caleb Battle 42 points.
Yeah, his 42 or any Mason Jones game. Pick your poison on that one. Like just something to where in any game, in any performance, and at any level, like where does that type of performance rank among the all-time greats?
I mean, I'm not sure how we could put it too far up there when Kevin Kopps used to do it twice a weekend.
Oh,
every
that's what I
weekend,
heard.
But
According first reported by Robert Moore.
By Big Bob Moore, apparently
no,
did twice.
I mean, I just I haven't seen anything like that. And it's one thing to get 17 strikeouts, but it's another to do, get all of them in a row, essentially. You could pitch, a 9-inning game and shut somebody out and have 17 strikeouts, and that's incredible. But just the way it was going down, where it's just mowing guys down, one after another in that building against a top 10 team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be top 2 or 3 things I've ever seen.
It really is like if the criteria is just how impressive was what the individual was doing, it really is like as good as just about anything I've seen in person for sure. It's just tough because it's like especially when you take into account 78 pitches.
Man.
He wasn't like his pitch count was low. If this were in May or April or whatever, you might see him get up to 20, 21, 22 strikeouts. Like when you take it into account all that stuff, it's really, really impressive. But you have to acknowledge the fact that this is not an NCAA tournament game. This is not a winner take all, like Hogs gotta win it, like type of situation. So I feel like people will always remember like those type of performances a little bit more. And like Darren McFadden's 321 game against South Carolina, it didn't make or break Arkansas's national title chances or anything.
No.
But one game in football like carries so much weight. But I mean, in terms of like just how impressive the individual played, I don't know how you could perform as well, any better than what Hagen did. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, especially if you add in, you mentioned the circumstances, and I'm not trying to take anything away from if it would have been impressive no matter what, but if they were going up against, UAPB.
Yeah.
And bomb in a midweek, which I know they wouldn't pitch Hagen Smith in a midweek, but
Well,
you know what I'm
Tuesday.
saying? Like, it's like some player, whoever, goes out there and throws 17 strikeouts. It's like, man, that's really incredible and impressive and all that, but, consider where it's at. But then you're talking about this particular game in Arlington, Major League Ballpark, where all the lights are on. You got scouts everywhere, and you're going up against the number 7 team Oregon State program with a lot of great players. And to do it and as consistently as he did it, and to keep, you mentioned the low pitch count, and to the bounce back that he had from the previous game and all that. I'm with you. I think it's going to have to be at least top 2 for me.
I'm glad you mentioned the bounce back, because I feel like that's a relevant part of the story is like, obviously Hagen Smith has had a lot of success at Arkansas, and it's not like people were really like eyeballing him like, hey, you better pitch well. But, he was really upset about how that outing last week went. And so I think that just added to the story of what made the performance so good. And it's cool because like, y'all were around the team on Thursday. You got the feel that like they all kind of felt like something like that was going to happen. I think everyone knew. And Hagen, I asked him if he said anything to the team where I was like, did you like tell people like, hey, I'm about to go out? But he was like, no, I didn't have to say anything. Everybody could just kind of tell. Like they were, like everybody, nobody even said anything to him of like, hey, you're good. We got like, it was like unsaid, unspoken. And I think that was telling when you talk to Gage Wood, you talk to Peyton Holt or whoever, they all had that kind of feeling of like, we ain't worried about Hagen Smith. Trust me.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever see something like that again, but I'm glad I got to see it in person. I'm glad we all got to see it in person.
Shout out to Jersey Mike's for tweeting back at him.
Yeah,
that was huge.
Man.
Yeah, shout out to Jersey Mike's for fueling that that
tomato.
victory. We didn't get confirmation that he did. I mean, I'm assuming he did. He said he was going to. But I also did want to point out that Oregon State has scored 19 runs in about 19 innings since, or I guess in 16 innings since then, because they had a 7-inning game against Michigan where they scored 11. They beat Oklahoma State 8-1 yesterday. So it's like that performance could age really, really well as Oregon State finishes the year hitting like 315, leading the nation in scoring. You know what I mean? Like
weren't they averaging like over 3 homers per 9 or something coming into it?
They crushed last week, and so we'll see. I mean, I think they're going to end up being, they're the favorite to win the Pac-12, and so I think if they end up winning the Pac-12 and going to Omaha and being like a top 5 seed, that performance is only going to look even better and better. And so, it'd be cool if maybe we get to see it again.
Wow, I'd love it. I think every Razorback fan would sign up for it. But the performance is one that is, again, great, but we also need to dive into what was not so great, and that was the offense. If there was not a home run hit by a Razorback in that building, and
Crazy.
I'm not saying that that's the only thing that matters when it comes to dictating offense, but if you're a team that's all about homers and strikeouts, as I keep hearing about, for you to not even go out there and you got close. If I had a nickel for every time I heard somebody say, well, I am bomb, that's out. Okay, great.
Scotty was hitting uh-ohs on balls that were like 79 miles an hour.
Like it was like I would understand it if it was in that perspective and in that place, but the offense was extremely disappointing the entire weekend. You put way too much pressure on the pitching, and I know Dave Van Horn was very, very upset, and rightfully so, of that type of performance. And the question becomes, how concerning is it? Because we talked about, hey, it can get going, it can be better, but that's certainly not what you want to ever. You don't want to have it this year being like it was a few years ago, where you're just praying that your pitching holds them to 3 or less runs, because that's the only way you're going to win. That's not good baseball.
I don't know how you couldn't be concerned. I mean, it's not that them sucking this past weekend means that they can't have a good offense this year. It means that they're not going to play a lot better. I mean, there's a lot of pieces on the team where it's like, just mathematically, law of averages, they're going to be better. I mean, Hudson White and Vahiva Alora, the two that kind of jump out to me, is those two literally might have been the best hitters on the team all offseason, like consistently. And Arkansas's pitching staff, which we found out ain't a bad pitching staff. Nope. They were raking against that group, and it's like, if you can rake against that group, you can do it. I understand it's inter squad against your own team. It's a little different setting, but in terms of just what we're supposed to expect from this team, it's been drastically below whatever it is you set that bar at. I mean, I literally have an episode of Bombastic called Setting Expectations for this Arkansas offense, and it was not hitting 248 through 7 games. I'm going to just tell you that. And it was not only 4 home runs in the first 7 games. And I'm glad you mentioned the power, John, because, like, that's what this whole thing has kind of been built on, where even when Arkansas has their struggles, there's so much power threat where you have these guys where you're like, oh, we got to be careful with Caden Wallace or whoever. And Arkansas doesn't even have that threat, right?
No.
It's like it just changes the way teams approach you, where even if you are only scoring 3 or 4 runs, if you're hitting bombs and you're drawing walks and teams have to be a little cautious, it seemed like those pitchers were just going right at them and letting them roll over, letting them ground out, letting them ground into double play after double play. They love grounding out. And so it's like, hey, maybe Arkansas's got to get back to their roots. Let's launch that ball and let's get the sucker out of the yard, man. I mean, I don't want to, I know people hate the whole like home run or bust thing, but it's like, you got to show some of that pop. You got to show us that it's in the chamber so we can at least be scared of it whenever we're pitching against you. And like I said, they were not intimidated by that Arkansas lineup at all. And it was, I mean, I'm not saying it's, again, when I say it's concerning, I don't mean like, hey, this team's not going to be able to hit this year. Are they going to be able to win games in the SEC? They're going to be fine. They're going to hit better than they did. But I'm just thinking, you think back to all the times Arkansas has been eliminated, they go through weird offensive spells.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then look, and everybody, that's the thing with everybody. I'm not saying that it's an Arkansas exclusive thing where your offense runs out of gas when you get eliminated. Like, that's how it works. But when you've seen it happen in the postseason, you're like, oh man, I hope we don't do that. I hope this team doesn't have a weird thing. Seeing them do it in week 2 against, I'll be honest with you guys, it's not even like they were facing a ton of power arms that are like going to be, the kid they saw on Friday night was pretty good, and they ended up scoring 3 runs off of him, weirdly enough. But those dudes from Michigan sucked.
Yeah.
And like Oklahoma State, the dude that held them down in extras, just very base level stuff. Like, it wasn't like they were seeing tons of like huge, like, oh, this guy's going to be drafted high. They're pretty average arms they saw this weekend, and it just didn't seem like they had the juice. And we'll see how they respond. I think these next 2 weeks are going to be big for them to just kind of build confidence. But yeah, I don't know how people could be like, no, they're fine. They're fine. It's whatever.
I mean, it was enough for, Dave on Sunday to really shake things up in the lineup.
Yeah.
And not that it helped, but
first reported by Karen Van Horn, by the way, rode the elevator with her. And I was like, oh yeah, no, we'll see if they bounce back. She said there's going to be a lot of different names in that lineup today.
She wasn't kidding.
Yeah, it's almost we're gonna have to start tracking the different lineups like we do for the starting lineups for Arkansas basketball.
By the way, Dave also said he slipped in. He was like, hey, we thought we knew what our starting lineup was. We don't. He said a few of these spots are very much up for grabs, and so
I can think about a handful.
He's about to go full Eric Musselman, start just matriculating and doing random stuff and starting KK Robinson. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
You might see KK Robinson swing the bat.
Well, I saw that, just looking at the averages so far this year, there's a lot of disappointment there. But, seeing Aloy at 167.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough. I mean, you got Jason Jones. I know he hasn't played a whole lot of games, but he's at 133 right now. And
if we're talking about real things that need to happen, of like someone needs to win the left field job.
Yeah,
like speaking of Jason Jones,
that's
he had a good moment there on Friday night where he drove in a huge run against Oregon State, hit a ball hard, and it's like, okay, and he made a nice play defensively, and you're like, all right, I see it, Jason Jones. Let's build on this. And then he didn't, and then Will Edmondson got the start on Sunday, but. Yeah, they've got plenty of spots up for grabs. It's gonna be interesting.
What's up with what do we think is going to wind up happening with catcher? Like, has Helfrich just going to take over and White's going to DH?
Well, I'll tell you, man, it was very telling.
Rolling
that.
Yeah.
When I asked DVH on Friday, I was like, "Hey, you think Helfrich might catch?" He's like, "He might catch the next 2." Like he's a huge Helfrich fan.
Yeah,
I think they've been trying to be fair to Hudson White and like. He's a junior. He's draft eligible. Give him his chance to be the everyday catcher. That's what he came to Arkansas hoping to do. So they've given him his chance. And look, he's going to get plenty of starts down the stretch. And honestly, I think they're going to have different guys starting to catcher a lot because they want to keep these guys fresh, especially when you got Helfrich and White who are big time hitters. Like you need to keep those guys fresh. But I would not be surprised at all if Ryder Helfrich is catching 2 weekend games down the stretch, like once we get into SEC play.
And that's the thing about Hudson is, and it's no offense to Kip, it's just like he can't catch, man. Like, I mean, there's so many
scary.
So many. I mean, there's zero reason where a fastball down the middle, the ball, it's getting dropped. Like
catching a guy like Jake Faraday down the stretch, it was like, oh man, this is a nightmare.
That was nerve wracking.
Yeah, I remember Dylan Leach used to be Jackson Wiggins' catcher for some reason early in the year. Like they would always give Leach one start, and he'd catch Jackson Wiggins. I'm like. That's not it. That's not the combo you want.
No, not at all. And that's a concern thing too. So there's concerning things. They're bad things. They're things that I think Razorback fans have every right to be a little alarmed by. But Dave Van Horn has been doing this a long time, and they got a little bit until they get into SEC play. But they got the win, and at least we know and established, knock on wood, hopefully no more injuries or anything like that. But the pitching's there. And I think that was proven. It's there. It's as good as advertised. It's just got to be consistent. I guess Ben Bybee's out with mono.
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be out for a little bit longer. I can't remember the time frame of. Dave said it's like a 21-day thing usually. Remember when Matt Cronin had it? He missed like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
so it's like he's back in that situation where he can be with the guys and he can do stuff, but he's probably at least another week away from pitching. So I mean, maybe SEC play they'll have him, but.
And I'm just telling you right now, be on the lookout for Dylan Carter.
Yeah, man, Dylan Carter. Every time I talk to someone, his timeline moves up.
Pretty soon, it's going to be like, oh, he played yesterday. You just didn't know it. But yeah,
he literally tore his UCL like in like April last year. And so like usually like it's 12. They say 12 to 18 months, and I feel like it usually falls in that like 15-month range.
He's on that Aaron Rodgers treatment, man. He's coming back with
he's on that ivermectin or
whatever. Horse dewormer and something like
that. The answer for the offense is a resurfacing of Wagner and having his Caliph battle moment.
A little bit, maybe.
That's what it's going to be.
Maybe that's what that is.
He'll get another look and he'll hit for the cycle and all will be right in the world.
If Wagner is going to want to be in this lineup, he better be cheering hard for Hudson White to clean it up behind the plate. He better be cheering hard. But we talk about Hudson White and he's hitting second for Arkansas, third. He batted leadoff last weekend. I think that's a huge part. Is like you got to unlock that dude's bat. It doesn't. He's got to hit. Like whether he catches or not, he's got to hit. And so I think starting Helfer, kind of gives you a get out of jail free card where it's like, hey man, just DH, do what you got to do, and we'll see. We can make it work. I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. But yeah, Jack Wagner only got one at bat this weekend.
People were talking about why.
It's interesting, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Jack Wagner, if he gets back in the fold. I like that kid. I think he's got a chance. I mean, that's what's crazy. I like the pieces. And you look at the lineup and you're like, Kendall Diggs, I feel good about him. Hudson White, he's a proven hitter. Vahiva Aloy obviously had his year last year and is a big prospect. You just go down the line, you're like, I like all these pieces. Why are they not working? And it kind of reminds me of basketball where it's like the whole is not equal to the sum of its parts at all. It's like you just kind of need to get whatever. But I just want to see Arkansas grinding out ABs, man, just working walks, working the pitch count. But I mean, the Oklahoma State guy threw 6 innings against them. It's like this early in the year when these dudes are on pitch counts, you shouldn't have pitchers throwing 6 innings against you. And I know Arkansas's pitchers do that because they're nasty, but it's like, I don't know, man. You can't let some JUCO kid throw 6 innings and strike out 6 times.
Just don't have it where you're these stupid games where you're 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Like
they love doing that.
They love it. They love, hey, bases loaded. All right, let's get a triple play here somehow. Like it just, that's the thing that I should be happy. I should be excited. People should be thrilled that the bases are loaded. But because of just how it's gone, it's like, all right, I'm not expecting anything to happen with this. And
Arkansas needs big country, man. They need big country now more than ever. I hope we see him start tomorrow, or else I'm going to be pissed.
Too. I mean, maybe the cure to what ails Arkansas is just some midweek games.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the cure to everyone's ailments.
Which is funny because normally Arkansas sucks in midweek games early in the year. I don't know what it is. But tomorrow's game is going to be a nail biter, apparently.
Yeah, because it's 2 games, right? They have against Grambling. Is it a 2 game?
Is it 2?
I think it's 2.
It might be 2.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and is it a midday game too?
I believe tomorrow's is a.
Keep talking. I'm pulling it up.
I feel like tomorrow, when they do a 2 game, they always do like the night game and then the early game. But I bet they're both early.
Tomorrow they play Grambling at 3 p.m.
And it's just one.
It's just one.
Okay,
yeah, and then they got Murray State for 3.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! The Murray State. What are they? The Lancers? The Riders? The something?
Yeah,
the Racers. Yeah.
Racers. Yeah, I always want to call them Murray State Mafia because that's what Houston Nutt's crew was named because that's where he was the first head coach. And he just kept bringing them around. So every time I think of Murray State, I just think of the Mafia. I know that's not their name, but but I still think again, if we had some people chiming in our comments on the performance and where it ranks among some of the all-time great performances by Razorbacks. I think the Darren McFadden 321 is really easy going, but like Matty Ice even says the Brandon Allen 7 touchdowns, which
you should just take that whole month where Brandon Allen just randomly turned into Joe Montana for a stretch there.
Yeah,
I mean he had 6 and 7, 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns back to back.
Yeah, against Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Yep, and I think it was all like done in conference play too. Like
and when they went on the road and beat LSU too, and I don't know his numbers weren't as gaudy in that one, but like that was a big one.
Attack, yeah.
They had that overtime game against Auburn where he had a ton of huge plays. So it's like that month. If I could just take that month of Brandon Allen and put that into consideration, I think that wins.
Yeah, that would be in there because again, it's not like I look at it as: are you ever going to see something like this happen again? Like, what's the likelihood you see it happen again?
You're never going to see 17 strikeouts on 78 pitches. No. I don't think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. You're not the same with Darren McFadden 321. I don't think we'll see, but I think it's more likely than a 17 strikeout performance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's another football one? Like Kobe Hamilton had 300 yards in that game that Arkansas lost to
Rutgers.
Yeah. trying to think if there's like another iconic football besides McFadden that sticks out.
We're not going to talk about Hudson Clark. Hat trick
Yeah,
Huddy.
hat trick Huddy is.
The no-fly
come
zone.
on.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. It's on the top 10 list of whatever
Hey,
the
it really
list is, dude.
Yeah.
Having 3 picks against Matt Corral, who only threw like 10 that year, like it's pretty
Well, yeah,
crazy.
just 3 picks in general, like in one
Right.
game. Yeah, I mean, I think that gets my vote.
And I
So,
mean, like
honestly.
Arkansas wouldn't have won that game without all 19 of the picks that they
is true.
pulled out.
Yeah, they needed I think 2 of them were pick sixes by Jalen
Yeah.
Catalon and Grant Morgan.
The final score was like 28-24.
Yeah,
And,
like, Ole Miss had a chance to win it in the final.
offense had like 200 yards of offense, but they just kept picking off Matty
It's
Ice.
just like such a classic Razorback game of why? Like, why
Yeah.
is this happening?
It's my
It almost
favorite
reminded
game.
me of the Oregon State Arkansas game. 17 strikeouts. Must have blitzkrieged him. Oh, no.
Best baseball performance ever, Dylan Leach.
The cycle.
I mean, dude, you want to talk about things you're not going to see if you go to a baseball game. You can go to 300 baseball games. You're not going to see a dude hit for the cycle and homer from both sides of the plate in the same game.
That's true.
And you will never see Dylan Leach again.
Was it UCA?
Yeah,
He
it was
hit against?
UCA.
Yeah. And I think
And Robert Mort hit for the cycle against him a year before.
that's right. And I know it's more softball, but still, I always forget her name. The girl that softball.
Danielle Gibson.
Yeah, Danielle Gibson that had the home run cycle.
Never
gonna
happening
see that
again. Yeah. And how about, hey, Robin Heron threw a perfect game literally Saturday.
Shout out to
What a game.
Shout out to one up to Hagen Smith. Just stole his thunder.
Like what?
Sailor Poffenberger hit a 60-foot buzzer beater, and
That was about it.
there's all these moments this weekend.
All these
What a-
great moments.
What a great weekend.
What a great
for
week to be a
Razorbacks.
Hogs.
Yeah, all the greatest things that you could possibly see happening in one weekend for Razorback sports. And I don't know if it's
What a
going to be
weekend
because
it was.
we still got to talk about K-Lift battle, and in fact, I know we're going to because there is some stuff about basketball we'll get into as well as continue to talk more about baseball as well. But we also want to give a huge shout out to our friends down there at Alumni Hall because Alumni Hall, all the Razorback fans that are down there in their sweet Razorback gear in Arlington, they got it from Alumni Hall because they have everything. They have jerseys, they have baseball hats, they have polos, they have it from Nike, they have it from Columbia, they got it from Southern Tide, Tommy Bahama. I mean, they have everything you could possibly want when it comes to all your Razorback apparel. And a lot of you who made the trip down to Arlington, you're not even from Fayetteville. You don't even live in Fayetteville. You don't even live in Northwest Arkansas. So you're probably like, well, man, if the store's in Fayetteville, how do I get that sweet gear? Well, it's easy. You just go to nattystatesports.com/alumni hall. It's nattystatesports.com/alumni hall. You go to that website, and they're going to have everything that they have in store, and you can have it shipped directly to your door. So that way, the next Razorback baseball game and series that you come to, maybe if you're going to get ready for Omaha a little bit early, get your gear with Alumni Hall because they're going to have it all, whether it's men's, whether it's women's, kids, pets, really everything. Can't imagine anything else that you could find. If it's a Razorback-related apparel and that's what you want and you can't find it at Alumni Hall, it's because it doesn't exist. That's how awesome it is. So again, check out Alumni Hall at nattystatesports.com/Alumni Hall. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of the John Nabors Show, get a little basketball talk as well as more of your comments here live from Natty State Sports Studios. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go through it. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
Visiting friends, but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street.
Yeah, Dixon Street. It was, it'll get you.
Best guys. I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now. You got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile.
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away.
But the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Well, stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in as we talk a lot about Razorback Baseball and a great performance by Hagen Smith. Not so much by the offense, but still going 2-1. Got Grambling happening tomorrow back in Baum Walker. I think the weather's supposed to be nice, I believe. At least nicer than what it was last time that they played at Baum Walker, hopefully.
And this weekend's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
High of 75 on Saturday. Going to be a real tough day at the yard.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, listen, the weather in Arlington was awesome, man. You couldn't beat that. That was a great trip, and the amount of Hog fans that made it down and the excitement surrounding it and doing it from Texas Live and watching the Razorback basketball game from Texas Live was great.
Yeah, I saw that.
What happened?
Like the
Huge
largest
bird.
eagle I've ever seen just flew by Natty State HQ.
Enormous bird.
It was so large, man.
America.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Like, I don't know what else we need. It's just like patriotism just flying through.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I hate I missed
gliding
that.
through so gracefully. Yeah, you're like at a bad angle where the sucker's covering it up. But
Well, because here's the thing, folks. For those of you who don't know, we're on the 6th floor. So when I see the guys look out the window and have a scared look on their face, I'm like, did someone jump off a building? Like, is there? Yeah, I was about to say, is like somebody just like parachuting in? Like, there's just only so many things you can look out the window and have that like reaction to. So
bald eagle's one of them, man.
yeah, I just want to make sure that nothing too bad happened there. But as we did mention, though, we watched the Razorback basketball game down there at Texas Live, which was really great. Had a really great turnout, and
that was awesome.
Was it the best moment of our baseball weekend? Was watching the basketball team win a game?
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, although it kind of came with some frustrations. I mean, just like everything else, it happened. Like Arkansas did beat Missouri 88-73, which it wasn't that close of it. It was close, I should say. It was close, too close for a lot of that, and it was just funny because it's Missouri, and what would the line open up as? I think something.
It opened at 6.5, but then
it
it was
got
down to like 4.
Yeah, I got it at -4.
Yeah. So he's like, why? How in the world? This team got smoked. This team sucks, blah, blah, blah. Well, ended up being Arkansas's victory, and they ended up covering the spread anyways. But the story is Caleb Battle. And Caleb Battle, we saw him have some great games in non-conference play. And then once conference play, he just went missing, went literally MIA. I don't know how long he was on y'all's board for missing Razorbacks, but I feel like it was pretty much the entire first half of the season.
He was just recently erased from the board. So
it took forever for him to get off of it. But I don't think you're going to have to worry about that anymore, because in this game particularly, he played 37.5 minutes and scored 42 points. Now, it's not like one of these games where he just shot up 30 shots or he got to the free throw line a billion times. He went 11 of 15 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. And to also add in something which I know got Muss all hot and bothered, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 0 turnovers. If you talk about performances, especially for a guy like Caleb Battle, that one is hard to beat.
That's pretty efficient, yeah. I mean, we talk about what was so impressive about Hagen's start was that, he struck out all these guys with a low pitch count, and Battle goes out there and scores all these points on 15 shots. That's unheard of. It's really absurd. And, you mentioned it wasn't like he went out there and took 30 shots. Like Wade Taylor scored 41 in Bud. He took 32 shots. Big difference in what he did versus what KB did. And it was awesome, man. I mean, he was, perfect 14 of 14 at the line. He was knocking down everything. He was finishing through some contact. The 6 threes, I love it, man. I mean, we've been waiting to see this team hit threes. The last time they played Missouri, Arkansas went 4 of 6 from the 3-point line. And Caleb Battle went 6 of 10 by himself in this last game against him, So, I mean, that was it was just an incredible effort. Seeing him do the shimmy, again after hitting a 3, Daniel Musselman. That I know you guys saw that pic where she's pointing
that
at him.
was such a good video. Him doing the shimmy while she's pointing. That was great.
Oh yeah, I mean that was great. He was very deep in his bag, and honestly, Arkansas really needed that because outside of Makai's like sneaky 13, because I feel like outside of elbowing the dude, I didn't notice him the whole game. Like nobody really had it going offensively. Tremont Mark looks hurt to me. Like it looked like that he was favoring that shoulder maybe. L didn't really have much going. Devo had one of those weird near triple doubles where he doesn't want to shoot kind of games. So they needed every one of those points from Battle.
Doesn't want to shoot is an understatement for how Devo was playing in the first half, man.
And Battle delivers, and I think, he needs to be the guy for Arkansas. And because, like, Mark, he's been incredible in so many games. He's probably been their most consistent player this year. He can be an alpha, but T. Mark is like a silent assassin type of guy. Caleb Battle, kind of like Hagen, again, there's a lot of parallels here, by the way, but like he will give you buckets and he'll tell you about it. And he's got some swag to him. And that's kind of what this team's been missing when they've really been struggling this year. Like his post game was awesome where he's like, listen, Musk gave me the red light. I turned it green. The president of the United States could tell me not to shoot. I'm still shooting. It just,
so good,
that kind of confidence, man, I love it. I've missed that about this team. And I think it's what has me, for the first time in a long time, like I'm excited to watch them play again, even though it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that was really cool to watch.
How many layups? I mean, I know he made a few contested ones, but like, was there ever any like wide open? Like, did he get any like free points? Like, I can think of maybe 1 or 2 layups that he got, and the ones I remember, they were contested, very contested, and ones. Normally when you see a performance like that in basketball, it's a big man who had 7 or 8 dunks that were fairly wide open or something like that. To see a 6'5" guard hit a bunch of pull-up jumpers, 3 step-back threes, spot-up threes, pull-up threes. How many of those jumpers where he would just kind of make one pump fake and just take 1 or 2 dribble pull-ups? Like when he's knocking those down, it looks so smooth, and you're like, dang, how did this dude ever not play? But obviously he didn't look like that every game. But it's like, man, when he's really feeling it like that, and clearly Saturday he was feeling it. And so his post-game comments were cool because it's like when you see a confident Caleb Battle, you realize like, man, this dude can fill it up from pretty much anywhere. But I mean, we looked it up a long time ago or a few weeks ago. It's like he only made like 3 2-point field goals in the first like 9 conference games or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see him like fully unleashed. And we always talk about, are we getting like what percentage of this player? If Tremont Mark, they're getting close to 100, but like, Devo not getting 100%, going to LLS, whoever. We're finally starting to see like what Caleb Battle really is capable of. And we saw glimpses of it earlier in the year, but man, that was really awesome. And it felt like a big moment for this team. And just if they're going to do anything down the stretch, you're not going to need 42 from Caleb Battle, but you do need him to be a big-time scorer to take the lid off that rim.
Oh, yeah. Well, like anytime we've talked, over the course of the past month, when Arkansas was having all these games, like they couldn't touch 65, and after they were scoring 80-some-odd points every game in the non-conference, and you're like, well, what's wrong with this team's offense? Why can't they score? Well, Caleb Battle was missing. He was on the milk carton. And they finally found him, and now you're starting to see, some of the pop that he can bring. And, he's been a lot better, like, the last 3 games leading up to this one. But he scored 41 points in those 3 games combined. And then he goes out there and puts 42 on Mizzou's head, which couldn't have done it to a better opponent, first of all.
Great opponent.
Yeah,
it's the Battle Line rivalry, according to Mike Haywood's email.
Presented by Shelton Insurance.
I mean, sure. Yeah, it was a big
did he really
deal.
say that in his email?
He said Arkansas wins the Battle Line rivalry.
Congrats.
Let's just stop.
Where's the trophy at?
Yeah.
Right now they're doing what they're supposed to do, and that they haven't been doing that all season. They have some real momentum. They've stacked 3 strong performances together. If you ask Musk, they won the Mississippi State game.
He is dead set on saying to everybody that he is doing
sign
that.
me up for that at the SEC tournament.
That's how many games in a row the Arkansas Razorbacks have won in conference play.
Deuce.
This is the first time I've ever been able to hold up these 2 fingers.
Feels good, man.
Does feel good. Hey.
Can they get it to 3? We'll see.
Hey.
They better get it to 3.
No kidding.
Dude, they lost to Vanderbilt. That's just one of those. That meme of the Sopranos where they're just shooting the dead body a million times? That's what we're going to do to this Arkansas basketball team. If they lose to Vanderbilt, it's just empty the clip. They're done.
Oh, man. I know. And it is sad. Like, if you think back on the season, like, obviously the Mississippi State game is the one that Musk would really like to have back. You could pick any of them. People would point to Greensboro because that was a bad loss. Like, give me Mississippi State or maybe finish the job against Kentucky on that night, because when you look at it, like, if they could just have one more win in league play right now, like if one result would have gone differently, this would look so much different than it does, because they're 5-9 in the league. Like they're tied for 11th with Georgia. They're in a better situation than they were a week ago, obviously, but there's a 3-way tie right ahead of them at 6-8 with Ole Miss and A&M and LSU. And so like they're this close to being in the top 8, of the conference. So it's listen, this is just where we're at, and it's sad to think about, but they might be able to play their way out of Wednesday sadness. Like there's a pathway there for them to do that. And right now, like there is no path for an at-large bid. That turkey's cooked. At
Unless
this point.
they send a waiver to the NCAA to count the Purdue game.
They would have to do that. Yeah, exactly. They would have to do that for sure.
I'm sure
You talk
Purdue would
about all
sign
these
up.
results we got to flip. Let's just count the one that happened. Yeah,
Right, they were 122 in the net before they beat Missouri, and then they were 121 after. So that doesn't do much for them,
man.
Yeah. So only 4 games left, but your path at this point is like the one of least resistance. Like you have to put yourself in the best position when you get to Nashville, get the heck out of Wednesday sadness, and winning 4 games in 4 days is not easy or probable, but it's easier to do than 5 in 5 days.
When you build the confidence by winning 2 straight conference games. I mean, how many teams can say that they've won 2 straight conference games?
Just imagine if they win 3.
Imagine if they
imagine
win
the
3.
vibes going into Rupp.
Yeah.
Of the weekend.
Which Arkansas is also on a win streak of 1 going into Rupp. So
Yeah.
Hey,
Arkansas's been playing well in Rupp the
They
last
do.
like
They do
decade
for
or
whatever
so.
reason.
They play well at Rupp, and they play well at Bama. They don't win there that often, but if you go back and look at those games,
They lose by 1 a little bit.
Yeah, they lose by it's like 1 possession games every time they go there, except that the year where Muss burn their legs off in practice and then send them to Tuscaloosa to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Was that they went like LSU, Alabama back to back? Yeah.
Yeah, that was when LSU was actually really good too. But yeah, you mentioned the SEC standings and where it's at. It's like Arkansas' schedule. There's no such thing as a favorable schedule when it comes to SEC. But if you should win the rest of your home games. I mean, you got Vanderbilt and LSU at home, and those are 2 teams that you should 100% beat Vanderbilt. They have 2 SEC wins, and
They're
you should
bad.
and you should beat LSU. Like what happened with Will Baker looking like Ray Allen out there should not happen again. And what my thing is with this team, and what also excites me, like you said, Curtis, is the possibility of now Caleb Battle has found it. And if going for 42 on 11 to 15 shooting, yes, that'd be ideal. But if he can just get back to having that swagger and confidence offensively to be able to be like, I'm shooting, I'm going out there, and he gets going early in a game, it's not only going to be tough to stop Arkansas from winning, but if you can just count on somebody else, whether it's a Mekhi Mitchell or whether it's a Tremont Mark, or it just opens up other opportunities for other people too. Yep. And so if you can get another great performance by Caleb Battle, especially at home in front of the home crowd against Vanderbilt, then who knows? Maybe you have enough confidence, at least from him, to be able to perform really well against Kentucky and Alabama, those 2 tough teams on the road, as well as LSU the rest of the way.
I mean, you win both those games at home and split on the road. Just find a way to get one of them on the road, and you're 100% out of that Wednesday nonsense in Nashville. You go 2-2, you still have a chance, but you win. You go 3-1, like you're not gonna have to deal.
So
with
you don't want to
that,
be the first team to win Wednesday night sadness and then win the whole damn thing. You don't want to be that team.
Not really. No. I don't.
But Curtis, you know this as a basketball coach and as a ball knower. If you got to defend the 3-point line, it's just a lot harder to play defense, right? I think Caleb Battle, you mentioned that they were 4 of 6 at Missouri that last game, where it's like this Arkansas team, they just don't like shooting threes, let alone making them. They just don't like shooting them. Him being that gunslinger who's like, I might pull up from 40. I don't care, man. Like you mentioned the swagger and all the confidence. I also just think he unlocks a different level to this offense when he's playing well and when you just have to defend him. And Trevin Brazile, we got to see him play about 4 minutes the other night.
Good cardio.
Yeah. Well,
he looked really good.
He did less of a workout than I did that day, which you can attest to.
That is an absolute fact, actually.
But no, I mean, Trevin Brazile is another one where it's like, whatever this team is going to do, I think those 2 guys can bring that floor spacing element that, I don't know what the best version of this team is. It might only be making it to Friday in Nashville, but whatever the best version is probably needs to have those guys knocking down shots and, kind of setting the tone for this offense. And then Tremont Mark can be that silent assassin, like you said.
Yeah, and, if T. Mark's shoulder is going to be bugging him, if you have a guy like Battle, drawing people out, knocking down threes, or Brazile when he's in there and he's that threat, well, then Mark all of a sudden has a lot more opportunities to get all the way to the rim as opposed to having to shoot those pull-ups that they were just short the whole game against Missouri. So that
his
could
shoulder
be
was
beneficial.
definitely bugging him.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't right.
He didn't look good. He didn't look good.
He's off the mark.
Stop. I will say there's 2 things that stood out to me, or going back to one of the points that you guys made talking about Devo. Devo looked like, in his shooting, like I would look as if like Muss was just like grab me from the stands and be like, hey, we need you to go in there into the game. Because I'm like, I ain't shooting. I'm not, like, as soon as I get the ball, I'm throwing it somewhere else because I don't want it. I'm scared. Like, that's kind of what it gave the vibe of with Devo being out there. But also, the other thing I wanted to bring up was, I wish we could play it, but the end of the game,
dude,
Layden Blocker.
I forgot about that.
This was again, I wish I could play it. That was, I don't even know what to think. So for those of you who may not watch the game, and maybe forgotten, Arkansas had the game well in hand, and I guess was it a run out, a steal by
and Devo threw it ahead, right?
Yeah, a little leak out,
and you had an easy dunk for Layden Blocker, and Layden goes up for the dunk, tries to do some crazy dunk contest type of stuff, and misses. And I think it was with like 12 seconds left on the clock, and I was like, oh gosh. And then Missouri gets the ball back, and they throw it underneath their goal, and they're about to have a guy dunk underneath the goal. As the time is about to expire, and he misses. So just a real banner of a Razorback Missouri basketball game and an ending there. But it certainly looked like at the end of the game and at the handshake line, that old Dennis Gates was not too thrilled with that. But it also looked like Muss was shockingly being the calmer one and trying to be, hey, listen, man, sorry about that or whatever. Like, I still can't believe no one asked him about it in the press conference, but that was kind of an interesting ending to the game.
I did get confirmation from someone who was within about 3 feet of that whole situation, and that's exactly what it was. He was upset about Blocker's dunk attempt, and Muss was essentially doing the, hey, we don't coach that. Like we weren't telling him to do that. He wasn't trying to hear it. Dennis Gates lost 14 in a row, hasn't won in 2024. Salty, he's in a bad place. Whatever. It's not his first run-in with opposing coaches yet this year.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he had the deal with Nate Oates, which Nate Oates kind of shoved his player, so that's
that's a little different.
That's a little bit different, but yeah, he's feeling the effects of having about 2 more weeks before he hits the unemployment line. So he's probably stressed out about
before
that.
He applies at Natty State Sports.
Yeah, exactly. And then also we got to address the elephant in the room, which is Layden Blocker. We say friend of the program a lot. He is a friend of the program.
He is.
He sat right here, right beside me, and I asked him who wins a dunk contest on his basketball team, and he said it would be him.
He's just trying to prove him right.
To defend Layden, though, he had 3 dunks in his brain, and he tried all of them at the same time. He was
we put out a clip of him going through the legs and dunking one in Crocs. And then this one didn't work out for him.
It did not.
I told him, as he was sitting here, and I don't know, maybe I was just starstruck or something. I was like, yeah, I'd probably put my money on you too, man. If there was a dunk contest, I'm taking it back. You got to prove it, man.
Yeah, in the dunk contest, you get a certain time frame. So maybe he just missed the second attempt. May have been better.
He's not good in game settings. He's good in that setting though, where he gets 60 seconds and he can go get his own rebound.
And no one's guarding him, and he can just go do it himself.
Have you guys ever had?
Well, nobody was guarding him this time. To be fair,
true. Have you guys ever had those moments, like if you're playing basketball, where you're just driving, you just go to jump, and it just doesn't happen?
That's
a little bit. But you know what I really think happened is I think Layden had 3 different things he wanted to do and kind of couldn't decide between them all, so he just kind of laid it. I think the Missouri guy was debating between dunk and layup, and he did the same thing where he was like, I just kind of let it go.
Yes, the difference between Noah Carter and Layden Blocker was Layden Blocker could dunk whenever he wants to. I'm not sure if Carter could.
No. So I think he was so. It's one of those also things, another thing I'm sure you guys know about, where you're almost so surprised and shocked how wide open you are that it messes with your mind. You're like, wait a minute, I can't tell you how many times, and I know he hasn't done it as often, but I felt like there was a lot of times Mekhi Mitchell would do that, where it's just like he's so open to the goal, and he's just, oh gosh, like what, why? That's what it felt like. But yeah, like with Gates and going after Muss and all of that, it's like, again, I understand where it comes from, but I think it was just weird for me to see Muss being the one. It's like, hey, relax, bud. Hey, don't fly off the handle.
I feel like you only get one of those with Muss.
Yeah, and
here's the problem
one.
I have with Muss. And look, I don't have a problem with Muss, but I don't buy his stance of, oh man, it was just a player doing. How many times does this happen with Arkansas at the end of the game where Devo put his nuts in that dude's face that one time?
It's true. He did.
JD Note one time, I remember I bet on Arkansas to cover a spread like 24 or something like that against someone bad, and JD Note just pulls up for 3 just wide open, just like, let me just cash this real quick, and pulls up with 8 seconds left. So Arkansas players clearly have that freedom to do whatever they want at the end of the game.
They've done it this year.
If Muss really didn't want his players doing that, he would absolutely. But it happens all the time. So I don't buy Muss's stance of, oh, dude, no, that's just it's just silly kids, boys being boys.
Well, maybe I'm looking at Dennis Gates called cap on him because.
well, maybe I'm looking at it too. Like
Then it's
Too
just, I've seen the footage,
specifically.
man.
Like, was it maybe the style of what he was trying to do, like doing like a Showtime dunk? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like, because here's my thing, I understand about the game is over and all that, but at the same time, if you're a latent blocker, you're a true freshman, and you got, I don't know if I'm a coach in the NFL. Why no one's there, wide open lane, like then lay it up. Like, I don't think that's an issue. I think it may have been kind of the Showtime Lakers he was trying to do of the dunk that may have made it exponentially worse. Maybe
See,
I'm
I feel
wrong.
like laying it up is almost worse because then you're just like purposely like trying to score. You know what I mean? Like these are the dunk. It's like, hey, we're gonna have some fun here with 5 seconds left or whatever. I kind of like the dunks.
How come they never get mad when the walk-on shoot a shot?
Do you remember that
you know?
year that kid from Monmouth, they were down like 40 to Kansas, and he like went to go shake the hands and stole the ball? That we need more of that in college basketball. I don't care. I mean, look, as gambling guys, maybe we don't want to push for this, but I love those like end of the game, like try and get one more bucket. And in the NBA, they have a thing where it's like a known thing that Worldwide Wob, I don't know if y'all know that guy, the NBA Twitter guy. They do a thing where if you're the guy who has the ball in the NBA when the shot clock violation happens, it counts as a turnover for you. Where it's not like that in college, but NBA veterans at the end of the game when there's 28 seconds left and then they just have to run the shot clock out, they will dribble. If you pay attention, they will dribble it and then pass to a rookie or the youngest player on the court with less than 3 seconds on the shot clock. They do it a lot. And Wob had like a thread one year where he just kept track of every time it happened. And it happens like every night in the NBA where there's like someone's got to take the shot clock violation and they just pass it.
Give it to somebody else.
Love it.
See, I didn't even know that existed.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I need all the end of game content that we can keep track of.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. How many walk-ons score or how many times they've shot? Like, I would like to know what's the walk-ons like shooting percentage at an end of a game, like garbage time.
I think they should start power ranking them. Like Mark Titus should be behind this because he was like the original like famous walk-on. I would say like I think they need to start getting like a walk-on power ranking.
Jonathan Holmes.
Johnny Holmes was one of the best. I mean, dude, he would score like he scored in multiple games.
He'd throw up trash too, and it would just like go in, and it was hilarious.
Well, I think Arbogast is a better actual basketball player than Johnny Holmes, but Johnny Holmes is the GOAT Razorback walk-on to my understanding.
I would probably.
Kiko?
Kiko. But did he eventually get on scholarship?
I don't know if he did ever. Just
if
because he was on academic
if
scholarship.
If he didn't, then like, all right, he's the one.
It's hard to beat that.
Has any Razorback walk-on scored 30 points?
Who did that?
Keon Minifield.
All right. We'll power
That's a
rank
good
it.
trivia
Keon
question.
Minifield, Johnny Holmes, Kiko Hadar. That's where we'll go.
There we go. Stephen Cox, the former golfer.
Stephen
Put him
Cox,
on there.
yeah.
Matt Jones.
Does he
considered
count
a
as
walk-on?
Marcus Monk? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
He's football.
Jeremiah Bell.
Brandon Mitchell. Brandon
Mitchell was a decent
dude. Brandon Mitchell posterized Terrence Henry from
his
Ole Miss.
rebounds per 36 were good back in the day. I remember.
Yeah, they needed all the help that they could get too.
You remember when Brandon Mitchell was on the back of his jersey in football? It said Brand Mitchell because they had Brandon and Braylon Mitchell.
Yeah, man, it looked
Gross.
terrible. It looked awful. From the little streaming comments thing, Jason says, then why did Gates have his defense picking the Hogs up at half court with under 20 seconds?
Exactly. I mean, they were getting
Good
blown
point.
out and they were doing the foul to extend the game thing. Like before the 2-minute mark, even.
Yes.
They were doing that. So,
You want to play? We'll play.
That's exactly right.
What is it about small Missouri basketball coaches that want to go and try to fight and throw a fit about stuff? Like between him and I always said he reminded me of Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Frank
But
Hayes.
That's
Frank
Nick Honor.
Hayes.
Speaking of Carlton, y'all need to apologize to Nick Honor. He was
will
hooping
not.
the other
For
day.
what?
He had a few threes. He was okay.
Well, so did Caleb Battle. But,
Somebody called him.
We don't make fun of Caleb
we
Battle's
don't make fun
body
of
type
him.
every day on
I
this show.
saw somebody on Twitter called Nick Honor Jefferson Albert Tibbs off of Hardball.
I don't know if I've seen it.
You haven't seen that movie?
I don't think so.
Which movie is it?
Hardball.
Is that the one with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
I saw that so long ago, and I completely forgot about it.
Fantastic movie.
I haven't seen
Absolute
that or
banger.
Varsity Blues, believe it or not.
I still don't believe that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. how
I'm
you don't
26, man. Like I've only
Varsity
seen a
Blues.
few things. I'm such a young
Is this a
whippersnapper.
bit?
No, I've never seen Varsity Blues for real.
Okay.
We need to start doing a thing weekly with like Andrew homework of like, or we're just gonna give him a movie or like something
Yeah.
to watch, and then you report back.
We should do that.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
cool.
just like random movies.
Start
and,
with Varsity Blues.
The next 3
Yes,
days
of all the movies,
The next
start there.
3 days while Hillary's out of town, this is the time to cram. I'll watch like 9 movies in the next 3
Okay.
days if I need.
Like Varsity Blues. This is the most ridiculous. Like that's the thing. We could go on and on about this, but it's like there's certain movies that are still good, but they're so. I don't know if you've ever seen Con Air. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
that is a dumb movie, but it's good for some reason. It's kind of how Varsity Blues. It's like it's a dumb movie. None of it makes sense. Like for somehow the players are the heroes because they're like I know there's other things the coach was doing, but the coach is just they're actually the heroes because they want to run a different offense than what they're being coached to do. Like I don't know, it's really cool. Dumb. But
we almost missed the beginning of the Mississippi State live stream. It was the day you were at baseball because we were watching Varsity Blues.
That's right. Yeah.
We're like, oh, really? Game's on. Yeah.
Every
it
time
was the
I
Miss
leave,
Davis thing. We had to watch that.
Yeah,
y'all never do anything cool around these parts. But when I leave, all of a sudden, just cool stuff starts happening. Yeah, I mean, y'all are always doing these fun things. Seemed like I missed the one cool night in Arlington too.
Well, yeah, that was a night. Mm-hmm. Isn't it kind of weird to be back in here though? Like we got this awesome office, and everything, but like if you think about it, like we've been doing these shows, like we're at Flyway, we're at Globe Life in a suite, we're at Texas Live, and then we come back here.
This place sucks. It's boring.
It's cool, but it's like, man, we've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah. I remember one of the first when we were having lunch at Lockhart. I just remember hearing John say, "This is a bad deal, man." I don't even know what he was talking about, but it cracked me up so bad. I don't even know what he was talking about, but I was like, "Man, the vibes are tough in here, man."
Yeah, it was a marathon. It was a marathon. We had a good time though, and we got to meet a lot of cool people. In fact, saw one of them here in the comments, Wes. One of our big fans. Got to talk to him for a little bit, so it was nice to meet you too. But yeah, it was good to be down there. Good to see some good baseball and the amount of Hog fans. I mean, we knew they were going to show up, but it was just I think that a lot of the fans that maybe weren't there in Bud Walton Arena for that Missouri game probably made the trip.
Seemed like there were a lot of Hog fans that were not there in Bud Walton Arena for that one.
Yeah, that would have been a great question. Were there more Hog fans in Arlington or more Hog fans missing in Bud Walton Arena?
Ooh,
wow.
So what's the capacity is 19,200?
Yeah.
How many people were at? What was the announced attendance? Did anybody catch that?
I don't think they ever do it in basketball.
It says 19-2 every time. Yeah.
It didn't look very
half full. You think half full is fair?
I think 10, 11,000.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
So that means they were missing roughly.
If somebody was there,
there were definitely more Hog fans in Arlington.
I see. I believe it because that was. I know you went there last year too, Andrew. That was the bigger the crowd.
Yeah,
it was for Razorback fans at least than it was last year.
The Sunday game. So I remember last year when they played Oklahoma State on Sunday, which is like should have been a cool game. There was like nobody there at that one because everybody got out. Yeah. That Sunday game even had like 12,000 people there. I was like, man,
and it just they stuck with it. They needed to watch quality things and have fun and be there and not have to.
They were disappointed Sunday. That was one of the Saturday's game sucked because it was long. Sunday's game was maybe the worst baseball game I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was poorly played, just a bad.
Nobody
product.
was good except for
Mason Molina.
Mason Molina.
That was it.
Yeah, and then and then ended up being close.
Yeah.
For no reason, which it shouldn't have been. So yeah, it was pretty terrible, but that's all right. It was still a really good time, and we appreciate everybody that we got to meet down there and hang out with them too. But we're gonna take a break. I want to bring up a few other things, especially in the basketball and baseball side of things, actually. But before we do, I got to tell everybody about Superior Contracting and Development out of Valonia, because we know that Valonia is in the state of Arkansas, but just because it's in the state of Arkansas doesn't mean they can't go statewide, and Superior Contracting and Development can do that for you. Licensed residential and commercial contractors that specialize in all aspects of building and remodeling. They handle everything from fencing and drainage and additions and remodeling of your existing structure all the way to land development and ground up construction. So you can call them today, 501-453-3053. That's 501-453-3053. You can call them today and you'll get a real person and get to talk to them about real things. And they're going to help you get all the things that you need, interior and exterior design. And also visiting their website, superiorarc.com, Superior ARK. And you can also email them. A lot of people just like to do the email stuff. They don't like actually talking for anybody or in face-to-face or anything. But, hey, they got an email too, contracting@superiorarc.com. No matter how you get in contact with them, they're going to get in contact with you, and they're going to set you up with all of the interior, exterior construction remodeling needs that you may have. So, again, call Superior Contracting and Development today at 501-453-3053. We're going to take another break and come back with more of the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studio. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post-game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed the game. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go through it today. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
Visiting friends, but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street?
Yeah, Dixon Street. It was, it'll get you.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile.
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
Welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios alongside Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson as we're talking a lot of things that happened over the weekend with Razorback baseball and basketball. Success, I think, for the most part. In fact, Razorbacks were just pretty successful except for women's basketball. Losing to Vanderbilt at home is tough. And I felt really bad that they were going to have that senior night ceremony after the game. And she gets ejected.
That's did they let her come back on the court?
I hope so.
Neighbors walked her back to the locker room, apparently.
Yeah.
He loves Michaela Daniels.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
like
how do
the
you
one-
not? She's a great player.
Though that's
but-
the one aspect of I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a diehard Arkansas women's basketball fan, and I'm not super invested in everything that's going on.
But
it will make me sad, seeing Michaela Daniels' career end sadly, and her and Neighbors, they really do. I feel like they have a very close relationship, and so
Yeah.
I bet it sucked for him and her, to see our senior night go out like that.
No, it was a tough go for that. Not the way you want it to end, but yeah. So everything else though, Razorback wise, I think was pretty solid.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Gymnastics bounce back.
Gymnastics had a good meet on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it was 197 something, but they've gotten to the point. You remember that time I was like, God, I always have 197s, and I check every Friday to see if they had a 197. It was 197.4 or something like that. They beat somebody good. I think they had a road win over somebody.
Kentucky?
Maybe it was Kentucky, but yeah, they've had some massive road wins. So yeah, the Gymbacks are going to be fun to watch down the stretch. They got a good squad.
It's got a good weekend. Let's hope it keeps going and for good vibes only. I did want to bring this up because this was a hot topic of discussion. Seems like it always is anytime something like this happens, but court/field storming in college sports. Because over the weekend, Duke lost a basketball game. And as is tradition, when Duke they lose a basketball game on the road, the opposing team must rush the court. Well, Filipowski, who without question is their best player and everything, got hurt on the play. And as you can watch this video, you can see you as the Purdue faithful, or not the Purdue, or was it Purdue? It was no, who am I thinking
No,
of?
somebody else. It was
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest, thank you. I kept thinking, I don't know
colors.
why I kept thinking Purdue. Wake Forest, thank you. They rushed the court, and Filipowski it's run into / it was a weird deal. And then he gets hurt, and they're having to kind of carry him and making sure, and you can see the replay here, the kid just kind of trips over his knee, and his knee buckles a little bit, and Filipowski, after the game, I thought it was a little strange, but after the game comes out, and he says he felt like it was intentional. Which I don't really know how you could dictate that. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think anyone was like, oh, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to run my knee into his knee. And
coordinated attack.
Yeah, come on now. So that happened, and you never want to see that happen. It's a bad deal. Any player get injured, and especially in that circumstance. Well, the question became of should they ban court storming or field storming in college game? Well, John Shire, the head coach of Duke, after the game, had some very strong comments about this particular thing and why it needs to be banned.
Disappointed we lost, but look, for me, I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. Flip sprains his ankle. when are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. And I don't want that to take away from the game that Wake played. Because Wake played a big-time game. Salas was as good as could be today. And hats off to them. But you look around the country, and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off, and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. I don't want this to take away at all from Wake. They earned it. They deserve the win. Steve is a hell of a coach. I respect the heck out of him and his team. They're really good. And if this is an example that they need to be in the tournament, what are we even talking about? So I'll answer any questions, but for me, that's hats off to them. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. But that needs to stop.
Court storming.
There's no better
bid
bid than whatever just happened to me that negatively affected me should never happen again to anyone. You should ban it.
Well, and then now that it's happened to Duke, people have just been. That's what everyone needed to really start teeing off on it, with someone getting hurt or injured, whatever. Somebody in the chat said it looked like Filipowski was trying to trip the fan. I'm not.
Kind of got it too.
I mean,
it didn't look like he was trying to get out of the way.
Right.
He pulled a Caitlin Clark is what he did, and look, we love Caitlin Clark. She's great, but she faked an injury whenever she got the court stormed on her. I think Filipowski did the same thing. If you're going to fake an injury, come up with a better one than sprained ankle. That's what they said afterwards. They're like, "Yeah, he sprained his ankle during the court." You don't sprain your ankle by contact,
right?
You know
Especially
what I mean?
somebody running into your leg.
And also, I said this when we were talking. I was like, any basketball game you turn on, I would say at least 2 or 3 of the guys on the court probably are dealing with some type of ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a thing that any high-level athlete sprains their ankle like twice a year. I mean, it's just the thing. So it's like, you're going to fake your injury, sprained ankle, which is not really a contact injury.
Right.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And you don't want to see anyone get hurt in those circumstances. Just like you wouldn't want to see a fan rushing the floor get hurt or get TKO'd by a ticked off player that just lost. Like, you want to avoid those situations, but that's part of the game. I think, to me, it's what makes college sports so unique and so cool and such an intimate type of deal. I don't know, like, maybe there's a better way to do it. I cannot remember who it is, and I wish I could give credit, but somebody was talking about, like, in a situation like that, buzzer goes off, you start the shot clock. And you know what I mean? And it gives them the 30 seconds or whatever. And it's like,
get off the court. You got 30 seconds, buddy.
It's like a purge.
But then you could like almost have fun with it, because the whole crowd's counting down.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1. Then you get to run out there. That might be cool.
Great
but
idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Curse. Like, I look at problems like this, and this is just in general in any issue when it comes to sports, especially. I think we even alluded to this maybe with the handshake line stuff. It's like, if you're talking about how you never want to see it happen, but if you're talking about the amount of times it happens and weighing it at an amount of time that something like this happens, the percentage is extremely small. Like, court storming, it's not like I have a record of all the injuries that were sustained in court storms or field storms or whatnot. But considering when it came to this particular type of case where a player gets hurt and has to be kind of carried off the court, has never happened, at least that I can remember.
I bet my life he plays their next game.
That's right.
I will bet my entire life he plays their next game.
And if that happens, then it's going to rev up, be like, oh, okay. Because I mean, and again, it's Duke, like as you said. It just really frustrates me where it's like, kind of like ruining a party. Like one bad apple spoils the bunch. It's like one little thing like this makes it all change and makes it all bad. And I just don't like it. I love court stormings. I think field stormings are cool. I think maybe in some cases they're overdone. Maybe it shouldn't call for one. But to me, I'm like, I don't want to get taken out, especially over something like this, to where it's a once in a blue moon freak thing. Again, you don't want to see it, but I mean, I don't know. I'm still just thinking that I'm going to be interested to see how long he's out for.
Are the Blue Bloods dead, by the way? Because I mean, Duke stinks. I know they're still ranked, I'm sure, but like they lose every week. Literally every week.
Yeah, they don't have the mystique.
Yeah. They don't. Kentucky sucks. Kansas is not going to win the Big 12 for the first time ever.
North Carolina is the only one that's back right
North
now.
Carolina's playing some good ball, though. They beat Virginia in a slugfest, didn't they?
Yeah. It was so funny that a lot of people were doing the simulcast thing, and they had Virginia, North Carolina on one side and Kentucky, Bama on the other.
I shouldn't talk about Kentucky because they did score 117 points the other day.
They did. More points were scored in the first half of the Kentucky-Bama game than the entire 40 minutes of Virginia, North Carolina.
Crazy, man.
That's dumb.
Yeah, that was wild. But anyway.
Yeah. I like court storming. I want it to stay. And I think that the overreaction to this is, like, I saw Jay Billis.
I'm sure he had a great sound take
Again,
on this
I wanted to
from
play
Duke.
this so bad because it is so absurd. But he was talking about the way you end it is just once everyone's on the court, you just put a border around and be like, every one of you on the court now are going to be detained and arrested. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm sure that's going to work.
That's really going to work out. Yeah, bring out your cuffs, Johnny Law. I'm
call
ready
in
to
the
do my
National
time.
Guard for a Duke basketball game.
I'm sure the security and police will handle this very well.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to be like, all right, everybody, driver's license is out. I'm about to write you up a sanction. It's like, okay, it's just so that's I think is what makes it even worse is when it happens, people wanting to ban it or whatever. That's one thing, but then the takes that people have of like how it can come to an end because somebody was like, how is it not banned already? It is technically banned in the SEC. You get fined for it,
right.
But it's like security wise, I believe it was. I want to say maybe it was Hunter Yurachek, but one of these ADs have come out and said, when it comes to that, it is a lot safer just to let them run out there than try to stop them.
Because none of them are trying to do anything. Like, nobody's ever I don't want to say nobody. People that go to college basketball games don't go there thinking, like, I want to assault someone if I get a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's just, most of the time, it's just normal people. So it's like, when they get on the court, it's very rare that they're looking to do something. They don't even, like, mess with the equipment on the sideline. Like, they don't do anything weird.
They steal, like, one of those, what do you call them in the end zone, the big orange little thingies.
Oh, the pylons?
Pylons, yeah. Sometimes you may sneak a one, but yeah. But other than that, yeah. It's like, I know those are expensive these days because they have cameras in them.
I think we need to normalize taking the goalposts. I know they try to take them down when people are storming the field. I think you got to let those bad boys.
And what cracks me up is
it's
like, oh, safety. I was like, no, it's because it costs a lot of money to replace those. Let's not say it's about safety.
Yes, we're so worried people are going to hit each other with these goalposts.
Well, if you shimmy your way up a goalpost and you fall off of it, it's on you, man.
That's
also, you know what Duke really, if Duke didn't want the court stormed, you know what they should have done?
Won?
Not lost to Wake Forest. I mean, geez.
Yeah, because I think I saw that was the first time that
they lost to Arkansas, man. That tells you they don't care about whether or not the court's getting stormed on.
Not
if you lose to
operation.
Arkansas and Wake Forest in the same year, you don't get to complain about the court being stormed.
I think I saw something that was first time the Wake Forest was, I don't know, maybe either favored or something like that against Duke in like 20 years.
Yeah,
something
since
crazy.
The CP3 days, huh?
Yeah, that or Tim Duncan. Like one of the two. But yes, it's been a long time. It was a cool moment. And again, I just think it's so stupid and overreactionary by so many of these coaches and people just be like, oh man, we need to ban this. And we're getting tired of it. You know who was wanting to ban it? The people that get the court stormed against them all the time.
That's what's so funny about it is like the people who are just like trying to act like they have any other stake in this other than it offended me today.
Let's live in a fantasy world for a moment where like Arkansas basketball met all of this season's expectations and they were, 21-1 and ranked number 1 in the country, and then they went to wherever they just played last on the road. Yeah, they went to the Hump, lost to Mississippi State, and then got the court stormed on them. Like, how do you think Muss would?
Oh, he would be the most insufferable person ever. But he would be wrong, is our point, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like, dude, how many times have us three talked about it? We're like, we're dying for someone to storm against Arkansas.
I would love for someone to storm the court.
It's a sign of respect, man. Like Arkansas, I would love to see Arkansas get that court stormed.
The only time they've ever had anybody storm the field or court against them, is, at least in my knowledge here recently, is when Arkansas lost to Colorado State in 2018.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and they were like, wow, we beat an SEC
They're probably
team.
regretting that one still, though.
Yeah.
Instead, they just give up. They just let people dogpile on their field.
Yeah.
Once every 4 years.
What are you referring to?
I mean, baseball, people dogpile against Arkansas all the time.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not court storm.
I thought you were talking about
like,
Colorado State's football. I was like,
I was just trying to.
I
was literally just trying to think of like examples where teams celebrate on Arkansas's field. It's like the only time is whenever they go to Omaha against them. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, which hasn't honestly happened that often because Arkansas has not lost very many super regionals in bomb.
No,
The NC
They've lost
State deal
regionals.
was awkward.
NC
man.
State,
But
that was a.
That was really awkward because everyone was like,
I think that might be literally the only time it's happened.
I think so.
Under DVH.
I think so. They've lost in regionals at home, but never supers other than that one time. And that one time sucked. But still, point is, I honestly, speaking of college baseball, I like to joke around. I think I even asked Dave Van Horn about it. Like, why don't they storm baseball fields? Why don't fans storm baseball fields?
They're the easiest to storm, I feel like, too.
Yeah, it would. But
a lot of room for activities out there on the field.
Yeah, go in the outfield.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, I think Dave Van Horn would have everybody assassinated because it's like, dude, this is my grass.
Don't touch that man's grass.
It's a little bit different with a court that you can just mop up.
Yeah,
football
fields,
you ruin that field,
turf.
dude.
Yeah.
That's your answer.
I would definitely try to steal second base.
Yeah.
I said, what base
would be the
would you
first
want to
time
steal?
you've ever stolen a base, eh?
Yeah.
Would you rather steal a base or maybe like the mound or the?
I'd rather
the
hit a home run.
Just go out there and just see if someone will just throw a pitch to you and hit a home run out of there.
I think I'd steal the rosin bag.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
That's a good one.
I need to have some grip, around the house. Just have it by my couch, just kind of toss it up. I like that.
Yeah. There would be people trying to steal that stuff, and or like that one minor league manager that like used it as a grenade, like the rosin bag, and did all that. He was crawling, he like took the base off.
There's
and
nothing
everything.
funnier to me than when the managers do a little kick dirt towards the ump. That's so funny to me.
Because it's almost like
there's a Bobby Cox that used to throw the bags everywhere, like the Atlanta manager that would.
He would do that stuff.
Yeah, he would pick up bases and throw them at the umps. We need more of that, man.
Well, one of my favorite things. This is completely off topic, but speaking of that, is like I thought it was a great line from. He was one of the like little league coaches that in the little league that got ejected from was like 8-year-olds or whatever. But you remember those big buckets that you just carry the baseballs around in and like all that. He gets ejected. He goes in there and grabs it. And he's like, if you don't have the balls to make that call, then here's some. And he just poured them out all onto the field. And I was like, that is a great line. And that was really funny because no one wants, now you have to pick up all those baseballs. Yeah. It's like, at least if you're going to do something, at least
if you're going to eject me, you clean it up.
Yeah, that's right. I want it cleaned up. But all right, but we're all in favor of keeping court storms and field storms and all of that.
Love it.
Yeah.
But also be cool. Don't hurt people. Like, we're really not in favor of that. Just don't hurt people. And I'm not convinced that Filipowski's hurt.
Well, what would you say? Like, I saw the Creighton deal. I don't know if y'all looked at that. I think it's Creighton. I have to look it up. But there was a deal where essentially what they do is like they have this security team that comes out and literally like locks arms and next to the bench for the opposing team that leads them straight to the tunnel. And it's like cuts off like a quarter of the court or a little bit until they get out. Like all the other fans are over there, but it's like, hey, you see these big old dudes with black shirts on, you don't cross this.
Little Red Rover
and
action.
Then as soon as they're off the court, then they get off the court and it's done. But it's like even something like that I think would be beneficial to where, you're still storming the court, but you're also making sure that the other guys are there. And also I think sometimes, again, the players need to try to, because sometimes I feel like maybe they're trying to get like bait a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, I hope I get hit because then I'll be the victim in this whole thing, and then people are going to feel sorry for me.
I mean, no disrespect, but that's exactly what Caitlin Clark did.
100%. She ended up being fine, right? She acted like she got
she ended up scoring like 46 the next weekend. So it's like, she's fine.
Maybe she needs to have the court stormed a little bit more against her. Maybe that's the case.
Filipowski, instead of complaining about it, why don't you just break the scoring record like she did?
Just do that.
Yeah, just do that.
Just do that. That would go at least a lot further, too. But we'll talk about some other things. I want to play this Dave Van Horn locker room, or our post-game thing that I thought was really cool, especially in the way he said after the Oregon State game here in just a second. But, folks, I got to tell you, of course, about Manscaped. We know that it's getting that time of year. The weather's getting a little bit warmer, and you fellas out there are going to be rocking those Speedos, and you don't want to look like Chewbacca's trying to climb out of it, right? So you got to make sure that Manscaped is what you're going to be using to make sure you're groomed across your entire body, so that way the ladies love it, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go looking through the jungle for certain things. They want to be able to have clean and pure, and that's what Manscaped's going to be able to do for you, where they have not only things for your face, but also things for your body when it comes to all your grooming needs. So check them out today on manscaped.com, and you can see all the different things that they have to choose from. And they all work tremendously. And the greatest thing about it is because you are watching here on Natty State Sports, if you use promo code NATTY, N-A-T-T-Y, you get 20% off of your order plus free shipping. It's as simple as that. You can go to anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. Just go to manscaped.com, enter promo code NATTY, N-A-T-T-Y. You get 20% off as well as free shipping. You're not going to get a better deal than that, fellas. And trust me, your lady, she's going to thank you for it. And in fact, she's going to insist that you listen to everything that we do here at Natty State Sports, because we helped her out, we helped you out, and you helped us out. It's a win-win-win for everybody involved. So go over to manscaped.com, enter in promo code NATTY for 20% off of your order plus free shipping with Manscaped. We will take another break here on the John Nabors Show and be back with more from Natty State Sports Studios. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go through it. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
visiting friends, but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street?
Yeah, Dixon Street. It was, it'll get you.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now. You got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile! Smile!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Well, stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
Welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody watching in. Appreciate everybody listening in, as it was a great weekend. And, you know, a lot of things are going to be transpiring. Because I actually forgot that the Razorback Basketball game's tomorrow. I thought it was Wednesday, but it's a Tuesday, 8 p.m. tip, Bud Walton Arena. And is the LSU game on Wednesday? Next Wednesday, I believe, right? So is that going to be senior night, technically?
It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Senior night in 2024 for like any sport is just such a weird deal because like
especially basketball,
right? Because like everyone, like there's a few guys who just truly don't have any eligibility left, and you appreciate those guys, but it's like half the roster. You're like, this might be their last game at Arkansas, so you want to just go ahead and honor them? I mean,
yeah, that is a Wednesday, 6 p.m. for a change.
That's nice. At least. Yeah. So,
what time's the game Saturday?
12:30 at Kentucky.
Arkansas's had a lot of early basketball games on Saturday.
11 a.m. at Bama to close the season.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then, what'll be 11 a.m. on Wednesday, right?
Probably.
For the SEC tournament. Man, that's the point. That's the time nobody wants to be there and nobody wants to go to it. Is if you get, I don't think it's that early on Wednesday. I think they actually do play 2 later in the day games, but still, I
remember them that year, and when the season got shut down, like they played a late Wednesday night game.
Yeah, I was at Town Pump, and I think in Little Rock when that happened. Everyone's like, it was just that time where everyone's like, I mean, are we going to play? And I remember St. John's, Mike Anderson's team, they played a game the next day, and everyone was shaming like the Big East or whoever it was. Yeah, like everybody's like, how could you continue on this treachery? You're killing people. It was a wild
It was so crazy
time.
because like literally like Wednesday, the sports world was fairly normal.
Yep.
And then or I guess it was like Tuesday really, like the sports world was completely normal. Wednesday night, you started seeing weird stuff happen, and then by like Friday, the entire world was.
By Friday, we were sitting in our
dead.
homes. We had 8 inches of our beards like just growing.
We all had a lot of toilet paper too, because everybody was going to get toilet paper.
I hate people, and I hated that time, and I never want to go back. But either way, on a more positive note, though, I did want to play this. I thought this was really cool. Just speaking about baseball and Razorback baseball and the game, I guess the game Friday. You get to always hear speeches from coaches, which is always really cool. And Dave Van Horn was talking about with Hagen Smith and then Faraday, and it was just a really cool moment of dealing with the players and getting a little behind-the-scenes action. So here, take a listen.
Come on up here. Come on up here. Yeah. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Why'd you let that one guy hit the ball to second base? What's wrong with you? 17 strikeouts, 17 outs out of 18 were paid. And you kept it under 80 pitches. That's unbelievable. Hey, that was a really good ball game. Solid team. Thought you guys played your butts off. Took advantage of a couple things. Hey, a couple guys didn't get it done. A couple guys picked them up. That's the way this game works. You got to pick them up. Ryan McLaughlin, hell of a job. Hell yeah, man. Oh, how many double plays did he hit today? Two double plays, but he hit one off the wall.
I'm going to set the record for double plays.
And Verdi. Verdi, come here for a second. Come here. Get over here. Speak loud enough. Do you remember what I said to you when I gave you the ball? You're the man we want. You're the man for this job, and you were. Yeah, you will. Again tomorrow. Be ready. Get that shit. Come on.
Hogs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Yeah, I remember after they beat Oklahoma State in that regional, they had a similar video that they put out, and he like brought out Hagen, and he was like, "I brought in a freshman to close this game, and I said he's got the stuff. He's got the stuff to get it done." Like that reminded me. That was like peak like Dave fired up, but that was so good. That's such a good video. I watched it like 12 times after that.
Man. Like, well, because there's something that you see coaches' speeches after games and before games, and when it's, maybe when they know the cameras are on, or maybe it kind of come across as disingenuous, which maybe it doesn't, it just feels that way. But with Dave, like if you know Dave Van Horn, it's like he's not a guy. It's like, all right, cameras are on, I better really play this one up. Like that's the same stuff. That I'd love to hear him after a loss that he was like mad at what he said to the team after that like Michigan game or something. But like I think that makes it a lot more fun when Dave does it, because it comes across as so like that's literally what he would say no matter what. Yeah. And to see like the team respond, he's just a guy, he's just a baseball guy. Yeah. He's just like it's just like that. It was job and just being very poignant and very honest with him. It was just a cool video.
2 double plays, and you hit one off the wall.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, 2, 2, 2. He's running the 2.
Yeah, not that we were keeping count or anything. Yeah, hitting the 2 double plays.
I don't want to get too weird here, but like, if you've ever played on any team ever at any level, 7-year-old to like high school to college or wherever, like those moments mean so much.
Oh,
like when you do something big and you get that reward afterwards, the head coach calls you out, especially on a team of 40 guys or whatever, like that kind of stuff is so cool. And it feels good. And look, it may be as simple as Jake Faraday just like smiling when he went to sleep that night. But it's like that kind of stuff makes you want to help the team. You know what I mean? Like obviously all these guys want to win. They want to do their part. But it's like doing your job and like being able to be the guy that comes through. Like those moments like that are not what you do it for, but it's like it's so sweet to see that. And especially for Jake Faraday, who like junior, been on the team for a couple years. You can see how many people were excited for him whenever they said his name. Like it's just those kind of moments. Hashtag, it just means more, John.
Yeah.
It just means more.
Gives you in your feels. makes you feel good about it. I just like, I'm a sucker for those types of like, fire. Like, in this
Me too, man.
movie Miracle, like you got Herb Brooks talking to him, or this was the Al Pacino speech from Any Given Sunday that everyone always quotes all the time. Something about like coaches' speeches and stuff like that.
After we lost $60 at the casino, we played the Al Pacino speech.
3 minutes.
We're in hell right now, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We're in hell.
1/2 a step too early or too like whatever it was. Yeah,
you got a claw
that's a great
with your
one.
fingernails.
That inch. Yeah, he was like those are cool, but again, just have it off the cuff and playing it from Dave. You just know it means a little bit more from Dave.
Oh. I think my favorite that he ever had was 2018 when they beat Florida in the semifinals in Omaha, and he was like, "I don't care if they got the best pitcher in the SEC. I don't care if they got the best player in the SEC. We got a good team. We're gonna take it to them."
Mm.
And they took it to him.
Yeah, and he's just like, again, that's a coach's speech. Is always wondered back, like, I don't think there was ever a time, and I'm not saying anything bad against any of my coaches or anything, but I don't ever think there was a time where a coach's pregame or postgame speech ever just like made me want to run through a brick wall. Maybe it's just my personality.
You didn't have great coaches in your life, man.
That's probably true. That's probably why I never won anything in my life. It's not
no DVH. Speaking of John,
I wanted to have always one of those things. But when you hear stuff like that, I was like, man, if I had that, I would have made that tackle.
Curtis, what's the best moment where you got called out, like for a good reason, like a coach was like, "Hey, Wilkerson, knock down that corner three. Did you ever have like a moment like that sticks out where you're like, I remember getting that kind of love and validation and like makes you feel good?
I do actually. Yeah, it was my senior year of basketball, and we were playing Duval's Bluff, which has a great barbecue joint, by the way. But anyway, they had a really good post player, and he had 4 fouls, and we called a timeout, and we needed to get him out of the game. It was like, we're gonna run this play, we're gonna post up Curtis, we're gonna get him the ball, go to work. So you're either gonna score on him, or you're gonna foul him out. And so we ran the play, and I missed the damn layup, but I got a rebound, and then we got the 5th foul, and it was awesome. But yeah, that was a good moment. The ball's coming to you. It's like, all right, great, let's do it, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you the full story, but I just vividly remember whenever I was playing that, or when you were playing that, I was like, I vividly remember like moments getting caught out. And it's like, man, it just feels so good to hear your coach say that. And also Dave Van Horn, we've talked about, he doesn't talk to the pitchers a ton. You know, he doesn't have like Gackle's like never met Dave Van Horn apparently. He was like, oh, I mean, I've seen him here and there. But he doesn't talk to the pitchers a ton. So I bet for Faraday and for Hagen, like that's got to be so cool to see him acknowledge you and be like,
oh, yeah. No, and I think I was talking to Trent Daniel about this. I always reference Trent Daniel because he's the one who always gave me the greatest stories. But I always asked him, I was like, hey, when you had a tough outing on the mound and you're getting taken out of the game by Dave, it's like, you know, what's kind of said earlier that he's like, you don't look at him. When he's coming out and you know you screwed up, you don't look at him. You have the ball ready and you put it in the glove and you're out. Like you got to get out of there.
I heard he cut a kid in fall practice one time, taking him out of a fall scrimmage. Went up there and said, "Hey man, thanks for coming out, man. We appreciate you. Go put your stuff up." Hey man, we've seen enough. You're good.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say that he was out there in fall practice and whatnot, and when he went out there, he was trying to tell him that because I think I heard something about that with Dave. I thought my point is I thought you were being serious in the story there because there was a time I heard somebody was like, not to that extent, but it was kind of like.
I was not joking. I literally think I've heard that he cut a kid during fall practice, taking the ball from him on the mound. Where I think it was a walk-on that had a long shot anyway, but he was like, hey man, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Gets the ball, he's like, give me the glove, hat, like just go. Just go.
Actually, no, I had a coach on the mound one time tell me, if you don't start throwing strikes, you're never pitching here again. And I did not continue. I did not throw strikes, but I did end up getting another chance. But I remember vividly catching that. If you don't get this guy out, you will never pitch here again.
See, that gets you motivated.
All it did was make me walk him even harder. I walked him even easier. None of those pitches were even close.
Going back to your conversation about getting that like a little attaboy from a coach after a game. I think I only got that once, and it's because I accidentally fell on a fumble. Like I did not mean to. But I actually got wrecked. Like I got hit, and then I turned around and I was like, "Oh, ball!" and I fell on it. And it was like, in a clutch moment of the game when we were trying to run out the clock. I was like, "That there it is." It was just by accident, and I fell on a football. That was about it. That's my attaboy that I've ever had.
That's big.
Falling on a fumble's big, man.
Yeah, cleaning up the messes of everybody.
Harder
else.
than it looks. Just ask Julian Horton.
We should have looked up John Nabors highlights. Yeah,
you won't find them. I didn't play in high school.
We found a Branson highlight.
We did find a Branson highlight.
Big tackle.
Yes, you seen the Branson huddle page?
I didn't know there was one that existed. I think we're going to have to dive into that one day.
He was laying the wood, if you will.
Do y'all have any huddle pages?
I think Huddle was before my time.
Huddle was not before my time.
Yeah, me and Curtis. I think that's what saved me. I
was
Curtis.
Before Huddle's time, I guess.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, because I remember that was during a time where he had to go on. I think it may have been Rivals, but that was like the only time where he's like, and they maybe had a highlight for one of the players. I remember watching a LeBron James highlight in 03, and it was
my dad was sending VHS tapes to college coaches for me.
Heck yeah.
Huddle. I never had hope for my football career, but there was a kid that I went to high school with who did a Huddle page, and he never played, but he would circle himself on the bench of the highlights and would like post to like our team scored a touchdown and then circle himself on the bench.
That's good.
Great stuff. His name was Zach Westgate. Shout out to Westgate.
Yeah. Well, I think some players, I remember I had a kid in high school that transferred in, and he was like transferring from Texas somewhere, and they're like, hey, this guy's a 4-star cornerback. He's fast, blah, blah, blah. Here's his huddle tape. And I remember the coaches were like, oh, man, we got a guy here. That guy sucked. He could not play. But it was just like, I mean, listen, you can make a highlight video of anything. My Woodland Cowboy junior high football team went 1-9, and our highlight video was 15 minutes long. And if you just watch that, you're like, man, this team's pretty good. No. I think we scored a total. The most points we scored in a game were 18. And that's not really a good recipe for winning junior high football.
If there's anyone listening to this right now who either has a huddle page, has a son that has a huddle page, has a daughter or whatever, and you're on the fence and you're like, hey, should I send it? I was going to say the exact opposite. Do not send it to, I promise you, they don't care. Whoever you're going to send it to, unless it's like, real life. Like
a guy. Send it to us. We'll check it out. We'll give our grades.
Yeah.
If you want honest feedback, I'm going to just say this kid does not have it.
We'll create a show for it.
Yeah. Just create a show for all the huddles.
You can send it to us, but just know we might talk bad about your child on
this
program.
We may destroy their confidence. And
builds character. They'll be fine.
Yeah. I don't like huddle always just scares me to death because of how many things are on there and how many people are on there and
yeah,
I just
once I saw
anxiety.
how easy it was to make a highlight on huddle because my buddies did it in high school and I was like, oh, this is nothing. I love the dudes that do this. They'll do the one highlight and they'll have all three angles of it because you have like the end zone view, the whatever. Like, even in high school, there's a few, so they'll have like the same highlight 4 times, just every angle.
Yeah, I could. Again, I didn't have any highlights. I tore my Achilles tendon when I was 16, and that ended my career, or else I'd be in the NFL right now. So that's what I'm going with at least.
You couldn't do what Kobe did and overcome it.
Couldn't. Or Aaron Rodgers. That's right.
Aaron Rodgers apparently a record pace.
Yeah. Could not do it.
He's on that Dylan Carter track.
It was also part of it was I had a chances like either get surgery or let it heal naturally. And I had to do the natural thing, go through physical therapy. It was out for 18 months. It doesn't matter, but man, it was I blame that. I could have been somebody. Could have been something big. Let's see. We just got about, the show's been flying by. We got about 10 minutes left. There's a few things, though, wanted to bring up. Did you guys see this? I love this thing. We're talking about college baseball. Wagner and Texas A&M, a baseball game that took place. They got delayed because a player got locked in the bathroom.
I missed this.
Ooh, but this stuff happens a lot.
Like, look at this picture. They had to literally, crack open the lock in the door because a Wagner baseball player was stuck in the bathroom. And I was trying to think of there are very few things that would scare me, but I think getting stuck in a bathroom like that, where concrete walls, and there in Texas A&M especially with all that cult-like behavior.
Yeah,
they're coming for me.
In something you don't want to be getting into, buddy.
It's really where you don't want to be.
Yeah, when I saw that that tweet originally, it was just it's been delayed because an outfielder locked himself in the bathroom.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
That's
Dude,
scary.
I would be freaking out. I'd be screaming.
One of my biggest fears is getting stuck on an elevator. Like that
I
team
do,
that happened to that team in Long Island or wherever it was a couple days ago.
Oh, I thought you were going to say happened to Jim Chaney and Sam Pittman. Because it did. Arkansas 2014
Imagine getting stuck in an elevator with them.
I feel like it's a thing, though, that people make their visiting locker rooms and they're visiting whatever horrible. Like Auburn, you just mentioned, is notorious for it. They the media sucks there. They don't tailor it to who's coming to visit. I think it's a thing where it's oh yeah, we're gonna get an advantage. Just grow up. It's 2024. Let these people shower. Let these people use the bathroom. Let these people change clothes. Bare minimum.
Yeah.
They should be able to do those and let them get to their coach's box and get back down safely. Just I get it. Oh yeah, we're not gonna make it super nice for the visitors. It's grow up.
Yeah. Well, just do I think a lot of these stadiums too. Maybe not this college baseball, but you're having so many different events there now where it's you want to have the locker rooms that are up to snuff for everybody. It's not. Yeah. It's not this idea of like Jerry World. I doubt that the visitors' locker room is just some a bench and some Although I still think we need to bring back the troughs for urinating for men's bathrooms in stadiums. That thing, man, those saved lives.
9 or 10 guys.
Just lined up, and you had the little border, so you couldn't see everything. But man, you talk about efficiency. Those got the guys in and out. So maybe some things you can bring back, but definitely not one of those. I will say I know that Texas A&M's football stadium is incredibly nice. But I feel like their basketball and baseball facility, are they? I haven't been to them, but I don't know if
their
they're
baseball
nice.
park. I've never been to it. It's one I'd like to go see, but it's not upper echelon in the SEC by any means. It's pretty solid.
Reed Arena's mid.
You been there?
It doesn't look.
It's but probably about the same. It's not horrible. It's mid. It's middle of the pack.
I feel like they have one of the biggest mid-court logos in basketball.
Yeah, it takes up 2/3 of the.
They have the full state and everything. It's
Well, I honestly hate it when A&M wears the jerseys that say Texas Aggies. I hate that.
Horrible.
I'm you're not Texas. You're A&M.
Dude, they might have the worst uniform.
Adidas.
Yeah, I mean, like the Adidas uniforms are tough, but like they might have the worst combo of just all the sports, like in their color scheme and the fonts, and it's just them in Mississippi State.
Have you seen
Gotta
how,
get out of there.
Have you seen how Elko has gotten over there, and everywhere he goes to speak, he's calling Texas A&M the flagship school of the state?
I hate it so
Goodness,
much.
man.
Like, come on, like A&M, you don't need to do that.
Right.
You have so much money. Like
A lot of money.
You're who are you fighting for? Like, what are you doing? There's no reason for that. Also, speaking of other college baseball, so Tyler Wilson, not former Razorback, but an outfielder for Grand Canyon. Which what was the kid's name that transferred to
Zach Gregory?
Yes, Gregory. I knew that. But
best plate discipline this side of the Mississippi.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was always interesting to
started over Jace Borfin down the stretch in 2022. In hindsight, that might have cost Arkansas a natty. Honestly,
it might have, but yeah, because Grand Canyon's actually had some like decent teams. Like their program.
They had last year they had a shortstop that was like a top 10 pick, I believe.
Yeah, well, they have a guy, an outfielder, Tyler Wilson. He hit a game-tying grand slam, but they ejected him. So it's 8-4 against Nebraska. The Huskers.
Cody Frank.
And it's there's no outs, so I don't want to put too much on the emphasis of everything. But he simply goes up there and hits just cranks one, a grand slam. And
what did he get
flipped the
ejected
bat,
for?
And you'll see. I think they'll show a replay here in a second.
Yes.
But he did go a little over the top, I will admit. But I guess the question becomes of like, what's too much? What's too happening? Because he's going around the bases and the umpire's sitting there and they're coming out and they're all excited. They're like, "Hey, you're out of here. You're out of here, buddy." And they tossed him. Now they're going crazy, and I don't even know if the team has realized that he's been tossed because they're still just celebrating. But let's see if I can. Yeah, so like this is his little bat flip right here. Gets it. And then trots with it, and then tosses it up in the air. So he made it about halfway down, and then tossed it up in the air.
Yeah,
you know that's an over the top bat flip. But I got to be honest, is that ejection worthy?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's ejection
unless he
worthy.
was maybe like warned earlier in the game or something. But that's crazy.
So I don't think you should be ejected for a bat flip unless you flip it in the other team's dugout.
Yeah, if you throw it at the pitcher, or if you throw it towards the dugout, or even like throw it anywhere near anyone, sure. But yeah, it's just
bat flips to me are like spikes and like football touchdown celebrations.
15,
it's like it's the basics. You should just let them. Yeah. It's like you have different ways of spiking it, but give them a warning, give them something like that. But I just saw that, I was like, that's lame that they ejected him for it.
Santa Clara, former regional participant here in Fayetteville last year, they had a guy hit a walk-off home run Sunday, 2 strikes, 2 outs. They were down 3, hit a walk-off grand slam.
Do you bat flip?
I don't know if he bat flipped, but they were going nuts in Santa Clara, man. And I think that finished off a sweep. But when I was in high school, we had a dude miss home plate, or an opposing player. He had a 2-run home run that would have tied the game. He missed home plate because the whole team was like mobbing him at home plate, and then we still ended up losing. But but like I remember at the time, it was like, oh, we're still alive. He missed home plate.
And yeah, those are the worst ones, is when it ends up all for naught.
Yeah.
But I think that bat flip should be allowed, because if you hit a walk-off grand slam and bat flip, nothing happens to him.
You can get ejected from that game. You ejected everyone from the game by ending it.
Because who was it that got ejected after the game ended in basketball this year? Wasn't there somebody that got ejected?
Yeah, there was somebody.
It was
Matt Painter.
Was it Matt Painter?
Well, that happened.
Yeah,
he got ejected right at the horn.
Yeah, that may have been who it was.
And or no, I'm sorry, they were playing Purdue. It was Northwestern's coach.
Yes,
right? That's who
that
it was.
guy. Yep, that's what it was.
Because he had the awkward encounter with Matt Painter, and then he like went and dapped Zach Edey up, and
it's like, sorry, I've been ejected.
That's right.
It was Northwestern
Was it
guy,
Christie? Doug Christie? That his name?
Sounds right. I don't know.
I cannot remember his name.
I have not paid enough attention to Northwestern.
Pat Fitzgerald?
Yeah. That was, man, that's a guy. I wonder what's going to happen.
It's a hard-nosed coach right there, man. I bet it was a gritty ejection if it was
for many
him.
reasons. Also, I'm really excited about this. A Blue Mountain State sequel is in development.
It's going to be awesome.
Really excited. And when I first saw the thing, I was like, okay, but like, is it going to be like a, but no, Alan Rickman is actually coming back.
Did you watch the movie that they did?
Yes.
I watched it too. Wasn't crazy about it, but
No.
I'm here for this. I loved Blue Mountain.
I mean, it is what it is, man.
Solid leg of the trip to Arlington talking about Blue Mountain State, and this excites me.
Yeah. Well, Johnny Manziel tweeted he wants to be in it in the worst way.
Johnny Manziel, the source material for Blue Mountain State,
Literally
wants to be a
the
part
inspiration for it all. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I can't wait. I know it's going to be probably like the movie, probably not very good, but it's still like the movie. I just thought it was funny because they had some scenes that you could tell that they were like, they filmed it in the winter because it was cold and they were breathing, but they were wearing like shorts and stuff because they were trying to make it look like it was fall. And that must have, like you could tell it was low budget and they were just trying to get through it all. But
y'all gonna get an oil change before that?
Probably not.
Just some Oreo races.
Dude, Blue Mountain State. What's crazy is like I remember watching it in high school and being like, dude, imagine if college was really like this. And then you hang out with college athletes and you realize it's kind of like that. Like I gotta be honest, like maybe not all the over the top stuff, but the terms of like the college football team being like the craziest partiers on the campus, I feel like historically it holds up.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna, at least depending on where you're at, I feel like there's always those obscure sports that end up having some of the craziest partiers. Like for instance, I've always heard that like in Arizona and Arizona State, which are huge party schools, I've heard like the swim teams are like the ones that just go.
I was just about to say that the school I went to, the swim team.
Yeah, like some about them, and like so it's just almost like depends on where you're at in the sport, because sometimes those obscure sports will be the dudes that are whoever is going nuts.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Guys
hockeys are crazy.
Yeah. Wasn't there like another hazing thing that was like a women's hockey team where they were making them like strip naked and like do like I forgot what they called it, but just like basically slide on the ice like.
Oh, gosh, no
probably.
way, man.
I'm pretty sure it was like a Harvard hockey thing. Like
I believe
hockey.
that.
If you're a big hazing guy, check out Blue Mountain State. There's plenty of hazing.
Yeah.
That's what really happens in hazing. Like you wanted a real life examples of all the things that happen in Blue Mountain State. That's what happens in it. But yeah, Blue Mountain State. What was that? It was the mid 2000s that came out. Like the show.
I watched it late, like when I was like in high school.
Spike TV.
Gosh, it's so good.
It's really good stuff.
That's the only thing I could even think of Spike TV like for. I don't know. I think Spike TV was just one of that. They had Blue Mountain State and then like the world's craziest police chase videos. Like I feel like that was the only thing they ever played.
Dude, the head coach they got in that show is the most well cast. Like that guy, I believe he is a college football head coach that is like a great coach that is a true scumbag. Like that was a very good that show was honestly kind of ahead of its time.
It was.
2010 Blue Mountain State.
Oh wow. That's even.
I lost interest once Alex Moran started taking his football career seriously. I was like, okay, let's relax here.
Yeah, I got a little annoyed with. I didn't like his the girlfriend that he had later in the show. She had the thing with her lip. Not a fan. I just wanted him to be free and just hanging out with other random chicks. I'm glad we could use a lot of this time to end the show on talking about Blue Mountain State.
That's perfect.
A great show.
Did not mean to.
They got the sequel. They got the sequel coming out, and I'm sure it'll be a great one. But anyways, all right. What did we learn today, boys? So close up shop. Anything of note? Anything that matters?
What did we learn?
I learned there's Eagles in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that there's a song called Ding-a-ling. What did you say? Something Ding-a-ling?
Yeah, my ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Berry.
I learned that.
It was a reference.
When was that brought up?
It was a reference in the chat about Manscaped and wondered if Chuck Berry used Manscaped.
Well, then while we were during a break, Curtis was like, "Oh, we got a ding-a-ling reference," and I was like scanning the chat. I'm like, "Who said ding-a-ling?" And then it was that, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Chuck Berry's the one that did Johnny Be Good too.
Sure.
I think it was from the only reason I think I know that is because of Back to the Future. He's like, "I'm your cousin, Marvin Berry. Looking for that new sound. Listen to this." So he's playing Johnny Be Good out there. Well, good. And what I learned today is that a lot of people put Hagen Smith's performance of 17 strikeouts as the greatest Razorback performance of all time because of all the comments that we got, at least on social media. Almost none of them, except for Darren McFadden's 321. Everyone was like, "No, that is the greatest." So
it depends on the criteria. In terms of just Hagen was as good as he could have humanly possibly been in that game. I feel like
he was a lot better than anybody I've ever seen, and probably will see. But maybe let's see if he does that again. Well,
here's the thing, though. I said that Friday nights are going to be fun. Like, I really do think Hagen Smith is must-watch TV. Like, anytime he's starting, he's only got a handful of starts left as a Razorback. Everybody should be locked in on Friday night whenever Hagen's every single week. Like, set aside time, especially once we get into SEC play and you're seeing him against all these, like, top teams. Like, you got to enjoy every moment you have.
But, hey, if he doesn't go undefeated, though, it's not going to be as good as Blaine Knight.
He's not going to be as good as Blaine Knight.
It's not going to be as good as Blaine Knight. Tell you that. He already did not get a win over the weekend, so that's all that matters.
0-0 on the year, Hagen Smith. So we still haven't even figured out if this kid's good at all yet.
No, we need a lot more time for that to be.
But we know
figured out.
Gage Wood's good because he's 1-0.
Yes, and he hopefully offers up more prayers for other teams like Oregon State needed it. But either way, appreciate everybody listening in, watching into the John Nabors Show. For Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Nabors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great rest of your day and night, folks, and we will talk to you then.